darn warm.
Because you live in
I
Florida.
keep turning the air conditioning down. Yeah. As the northern people would say, Florida. As I would say, Florida.
Florida.
As most people say, America's Wang. All right, it says we're live on our channel. We just can't be live, I guess, on our pre-planned recording.
Let me take a look. Oh, I see what you're saying. So you're trying to get to something that you said was going to be live, like watch this space.
Yeah, so
Ah,
Riverside, because that's where it's like the link is shared on all our socials, so people can watch it there.
well, it's saying you were live on our channel. I'm getting multiple
All
things
right,
from YouTube's.
we'll just do that then, because I don't know what Riverside is doing.
Well, we're live somewhere.
We're live somewhere. Hopefully, people find us, and we can get tech support out. Maybe they can fix us.
You know, I'm not the one to talk to about that.
All right. Let's see. Gonna do that. Things are. Remember when life was easy? When all we had to do was work 10, 12 hours a day?
What do you mean, remember?
Instead, now we just got to figure out how computers work. Oh, yeah, you work hard. Okay. All right, so. I agree. Okay.
Blop, 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 blop.
All right, so people go to our channel, they'll find us, but all the planned stuff is out the window.
You'll have to explain that to me one day when I'm older.
When I'm older. That sounded like a musical. Yeah, it was. Oh, that was Frozen 2, I believe. We go with that. All right, I think so. I think we're live. Let's check the chat again.
Hi, chat.
Hi, chat. Hi,
Hi,
fam.
chat.
All right. We're just going to do it. And my apologies for I don't understand Riverside.
We've only been using it for 3 years.
I
Maybe
know,
more.
but like last week it worked, or like I planned it and we recorded and it went out on the right thumbnail and the right link. This time, it's like, no. Okay.
You okay? Take a breath.
All right.
Get yourself encouraged. Encourage yourself.
Yeah, and then a couple days of work out the window. There
Psych,
we go.
psych yourself up.
Try it again.
You want to try it one more time?
No.
You sure?
Riverside, I need you to fix your stuff, please. Thank you. All right. Hello, Trek Explorers, and welcome back to Trek Exploration. I'm Albie.
And I'm Chris, just about to get a glass of water when you said hello. You did that on purpose. You knew I was just about
You
to
can go
take...
get a glass of water. I can fiddle some more. Oh, you got the beverage. Okay. You're good.
I was about to raise it to my lips because a loving cup, one of us.
The loving spoonful.
There we go. There we go. Hey, it's Trek Exploration, right? I'm Chris. Did I say I'm Chris?
I think so. I'm Albie, and we're talking today about Star Trek, the original series. We finally made it to the original series.
Again,
I'm so excited. We're talking about season 1, episode 1, as we're calling it. We're doing it in production order. We already did 0, which is the cage. So we're doing 1, where no man has gone before.
wow. At least where no podcast named Trek Exploration has gone before yet. I think. Have you done a show about this without me?
I don't think so. No, this doesn't sound familiar. I usually jump around and do different things on the Trekaholic. And it was a lot of it was like the updated stuff. So do you like this episode? What are you excited to talk about the original series? You're like, oh, the original series is 85 years old.
I love the original series. That's my Star Trek. And I mean, it's not 85 years old. The original air date for this one was September 22nd, 1966. It was written by Samuel Peoples. Oh, he's so cute. He thinks he's Peoples. And directed by James Goldstone. The in-universe date is start date 1312.4 to 1313.8. which I guess is 2265. Did you suss that out? Because I
Yeah,
didn't
the
write that.
year is 2265. I got that off of Memory Alpha, I think.
In the year 2265.
So they're saying 200 years ago is when this happened. So 2065, by then, we'll be able to send out a probe out of our galaxy.
No, it was a ship. It was a ship.
It was a
wasn't
ship.
a probe.
Oh, that's right. It was a recorder.
All right, we're getting ahead of ourselves. I mean, did you watch the remastered version of this, or did you watch the original effects?
I did. I was gonna watch the original, and I was gonna watch the actual original, the one with like tonight presenting Star Trek with guest stars.
Oh, really?
Know, yeah, and everything, and Gary Mitchell being all lecherous down the hallway. But I was like running late. I had to shower. I had to shave. I had to sparkle my hair. So I was like, yeah, Paramount Plus.
Yeah, that's what I do too. I mean, I used to have a lot of episodes on VHS that were recorded off the TV, and yeah, I'm over it. I mean, I guess there might be something to be said for trying to watch them back to back, but when you're talking, when all is said and done, you have maybe 5 seconds to 12 seconds of footage that's different in each one.
It's not much, yeah.
Right?
A couple minutes in this one at the most, and that's mostly due to because they were like presenting it almost like a live play or something like that with act breaks, and it would say Act 1, Act 2, Act 3. And
could that be
on Star Trek?
That be like a byproduct of the fact that it was a pilot, so it was a little bit more formal, a little bit more. Yeah, I don't know what pilots were like in those days, because I know that sometimes like failed pilots used to then just go on like anthology theater shows.
Yeah,
so they could use all that stuff up. But is that the laser disc? Is that
this is the lasers? Lasers. This is the one that you would see on DVD or Blu-ray with the old special effects, but not the original version. The pilot version didn't come out until I think 2009, and that's on the Blu-ray if you want to check it out.
I'm confused with the original version and the pilot version. What's the difference?
Pilot version has the act. It says Act 1,
gotcha.
Act 2, and tonight, movie of the week or whatever it was.
Much more theatrical.
Yes. So, but if you want it just to seem like another episode of Star Trek, what we've seen for all the years is fine. You're not really missing anything.
It's a little slice of history. I always find that stuff interesting.
It's good to have.
Finding the time to watch it, and also finding the time to find it. But I don't have to do that anymore because you have it all.
Yeah.
Did anyone ever tell you, Albie? You have it all.
You have it all. I have all of Star Trek on different types of media. I think you win at life.
Nobody wins at life. Life is a journey. Haven't you learned that from
eventually
Picard?
Somebody will.
Time is a companion.
It's not the destination, it's the journey.
And it accompanies us along the way.
Life is a journey, not a destination. What is that? That's a song, right? Is that Aerosmith?
No, I always look like Jules Verne novels are like that to me. It's about the journey, not the destination.
It totally is. It totally is. I remember.
Journey's even the title of a couple of them.
Journey. Don't stop believing.
Right? You beat me to it, you son of a bitch.
Journey to the center of the earth. Journey to the moon. Journey to where else? The Lost World. Was that one?
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
No, it was From Earth to the Moon. Journey to the Center of the Earth. I have a bunch of Verne books.
Love Journey to the Center of the Earth. I used to, whatever that is, that like retro future sci-fi that got everything wrong. I love that genre.
Oh, well, speaking of which, we're looking at some of that right now.
Woo! We watched the remastered version that first aired January 20th, 2007.
Oh, right around my birthday.
Yeah. I don't know if you watched the videos I sent you, but Michael and Denise Okuda talking about.
Yeah, I did watch that.
Interesting, right?
Groovy. It was pretty groovy. Yeah. It's always nice to watch the Okudas. We like the Okudas.
Love them.
Fans. Okuda fans.
Big time. Got to hang with them in Vegas. Not really hang with them, but I was in the same room with them.
Akuda Matata.
Yeah, exactly.
Is that
where that saying comes from?
Oh, okay. I thought that was from some scammer that pretended he was Native American on the Voyager cast, right? Wasn't there someone that was like a consultant?
Yeah,
that was just a complete fraud. I don't get there.
I don't blame them, because if somebody offered me a job, and I'd be like, okay, money. You want to give me money? I'll make stuff up.
I'll make up native stuff.
Yeah, sure.
Not like you.
It was harder back then. The internet wasn't so much. GeoCities and such, AOL. So they probably got their information off of that. Now I could figure anything out, right? All right. So before we do our first impressions and talk about this episode, let's see. It's Where No Man Has Gone Before, Star Trek The Original Series, Season 1, Episode 1, original air date, September 22nd, 1966, Star Trek Day. Isn't that weird that Star Trek premiered on Star Trek Day? How did they know?
Oh, I was thinking First Contact Day. There's Star Trek Day and First Contact Day?
Yeah, there's two, and there's 7 of 9 Day.
There's too
We celebrate
much.
a lot.
It's too much.
Never too much. Star Trek. Written by Samuel Peebles and directed by James Goldstone. Ooh, it sounds like a good restaurant. Goldstone.
Let's go to Goldstone. Let's get a steak.
And you already talked about the start date and stuff. So, Chris, would you do what you do so well and give us the episode synopsis for Where No Man Has Gone Before?
Let me take a breath and try not to hiccup through this. Okay.
All right.
The USS Enterprise is on a mission to leave the galaxy, like Scene 1, Episode 1, and we're already at the edge of the final frontier. We catch up with Captain Kirk and Science Officer Spock in the briefing lounge. It's not the briefing room, briefing lounge. Science Officer Spock in the briefing lounge playing a game of three-dimensional chess. How futuristic. And slinging friendly barbs when they're interrupted by a distress call. Turns out it is a distress beacon from the lost ship Valiant, a pre-warp vessel that was lost 200 years prior, also on a mission to leave the galaxy. Kirk heads to the bridge with Spock, and Gary Mitchell hops onto the turbolift with him, smarmily giving Spock the business about losing 3D chess to Kirk. Once on the bridge, Spock heads to the science station, Mitchell takes the navigation console, and Kirk forgets the name of Yeoman What's-Her-Name, Smith or Jones, I don't know. He orders helmsman Lee Kelso to neutralize warp and addresses Intercraft to call the main department heads to the bridge. I love neutralize warp and Intercraft. Enter Chief Engineer Scott, Chief Medical Officer Dr. Piper, his associate Chief Psychiatrist Dr. Elizabeth Denner, and Mystery Sulu. Mitchell hits on Denner. She shuts him down with a smart retort. He proceeds to call her a walking refrigerator unit because why else wouldn't a broad want to get with all this? Kirk brings the ship to full stop while Spock relays the memory tapes from the lost Valiant. The ship had been heading out of the galaxy when they encountered an unknown force that left them damaged and adrift. There follows a lot of frantic chatter about ESP, and then the ship self-destructs. Kirk grills Denner about ESP. She states that it's a fact of science, but that espers aren't especially dangerous. Spock feels otherwise, but Kirk decides to push forward with the mission and orders the ship to warp out of the galaxy. And hello, what's that? A strange energy barrier right at the edge of the galaxy? Rather than go above or below it, Kirk takes the ship into the belly of the beast, which causes a power surge that knocks out most bridge stations and zaps Mitchell and Denner with some kind of photonegative beam. They roll Mitchell's prone form over, and his eyes have gone all glowy. Kirk says, "My God, they're full of stars," and orders the ship to beat it out of there. Limping back into the galaxy with their tails between their legs, Kirk learns that the warp engines are burned out. It will take them years to get to the next inhabited planet, and really, who could have seen this coming? I mean, that ominous message from the Valiant was played like an entire 5 minutes ago, and a busy captain can't remember everything. Just ask Smith or Jones or whatever her name is. Mitchell is taken to sickbay, Mitchell is taken to sickbay, where he is apparently developing mutant abilities to go with the groovy new eyes. He and Jim have a touching scene that shows what dude bros they are. But then Gary has... I'm sorry. I always screw up my jokes. Edit that. He and Jim have a touching scene that shows what dude bros they are, but then Gary has to harsh the vibe by going all talky Tina and warning Kirk that you'd better be nice to me. Spock discovers that Mitchell and Daner have especially high Esper ratings, which is why the barrier beam didn't burn out their brains like it did for 9 other crew members. They're dead, by the way. I guess that's the first 9 casualties we see. I wonder if they were beige shirts. Anyway.
Oh, maybe.
At a briefing of the senior staff, Spock is all like, we need to kill Mitchell while we still can, or at least get him off the ship. There's an automated lithium cracking station a few light days away on Delta Vega. Spock suggests that they bring the ship there, make repairs, and maroon Mitchell before he kills them all. Kirk disses Spock's utter Vulcanness, but reluctantly agrees. They knock an increasingly stronger Mitchell out and transport down. The cracking station has everything they need, including a detainment cell for Mitchell. And what is a detainment cell doing in a remote mining facility that sees maybe 6 visitors every 10 years? Anyway, just as the ship is almost finished being repaired, Spock's warnings come true. Mitchell murders Kelso using telekinesis, breaks out of his cell, knocks Kirk and Spock out with his Mitchell lightning, and then invites Denner to join him, as she has finally turned as well. Piper revives Kirk and tells him that Mitchell and Denner have headed for the hills. Kirk orders him to beam up with Spock and blanket the planet in deadly neutron radiation if he doesn't contact the ship in 12 hours. That's an order, Mark. Meanwhile, Mitchell is making the desert bloom and pontificating on how great it is to be a god. He can sense Kirk coming, and he's all like, I know you're there, Jim. He sends Elizabeth to parley with Kirk. And give him one more chance to come around. But Elizabeth is not yet so far gone as Mitchell. And Kirk convinces her that Mitchell must be stopped. He has the godlike powers with none of the wisdom and is still a rotten, corrupt human, and Kirk foo this and Kirk foo that, and Denner is all like fanning herself and decides to try and sway Mitchell too. Mitchell is having none of it though, and what follows is an epic fight scene, the likes of which only 2 TOS stunt doubles can pull off. But Mitchell beats Kirk. Mitchell bests Kirk. Mitchell bests. I gotta read these before I write them. Wow, that would be a trick. I gotta read them before I read them. But Mitchell bests Kirk, digs him a grave complete with tombstone, and forces him to kneel. Kirk is like, your absolute power has corrupted you absolutely, Gary, and Mitchell laughs. And then Denner zaps him with Denner lightning. They have a lightning showdown that incapacitates Mitchell long enough for Kirk to pull him into the grave. Before Gary can recover, Kirk blasts the looming hills and brings a giant, conveniently shaped boulder down on Mitchell, squishing him. Dana dies of her lightning wounds, and Kirk hails the ship. Back on the bridge, Kirk completely whitewashes all the evil shit Mitchell has done, saying he died heroically while doing his duty because bro's got a bro, you know? Even beyond the grave. Then he condescends to Spock, insulting his Vulcanness, but saying there may be hope for him after all. The end? Or the beginning? I think it's just the beginning. The beginning of that thing that we call Star Trek in the form, or almost in the form, of the Star Trek that we would grow to love, which would become the iconic series that would be the springboard, the wellspring of all of this fandom that has followed over the last 50 plus years, almost 60 years at this point, right?
It's like you're all on some sort of Star Trek.
I guess they are. I mean, right outside the galaxy, but wouldn't that be the opposite definition? I mean, the ship is going out of the galaxy, so there'd be no stars. Right. The only stars are in Mitchell's eyes. Did you like my 2001 reference, by the way?
I did. I thought that was funny. You know, I had no idea that was the same guy until about 5 years ago. I don't know why, because they look exactly the same because they're the same guy.
Yeah, exactly. That's Frank. He played Frank Poole. Poor Frank bites it in 2001.
Doesn't everybody? Only the baby survives, right?
Keir Delay turns into Star Baby at the end. After he goes through the monolith and it's full of stars.
And he's old, and then they're on the moon, and then there's their TWA, or what is it?
It was TWA in space
station. Yeah, we'll get there. It's not 2001 yet, so we'll get there.
I have to breathe and read slower.
Man, that was good. That was good. I like this episode. That's my first impression. I love the episode. I probably watched it more than most of the episodes because I like to start at the beginning, and I start many times.
Okay, all right.
Before I get going, you know. That's good. It's always funny to me because they're all in velour, so it always just seems like something different than the original series, even though it is the original series. What are your first impressions?
This is probably, as I've said a million times, for anyone that's cared to watch or listen to the show, my favorite episode of the original series.
Oh, cool.
So that's my favorite. And I have very specific reasons for that were born out of my burgeoning fandom as I was a young man, really getting to, really get into Star Trek, really grok it. But before we leave the galaxy, we want to hear what you all out there think of this episode. You can reach us right at our YouTube channel. That's youtube.com/@TrekExploration. Make comments. us in the comment section below. Tell us what you think of Where No Man Has Gone Before. You can also let us know what you think and support us on Patreon. That's patreon.com/Trexploration. Find us on the gram. That's at Trexploration Pod. You can also get us on Blue Sky Social,
smiling at me.
at Trexploration. You can send us an email. That's trexplorationpod@gmail.com. You can also P.O. Box us. You can P.O. Box us at P.O. Box 542, Bayport, New York, 11705. I dare you to send a P.O. Box to our P.O. Box.
Oh, that would be awesome.
Right? Wouldn't that cause like some kind of infinite reversion loop and like the whole world would just implode on itself?
It would be bigger on the inside.
I mean, I tell you what, though, that would make our P.O. Box like the most important P.O. Box in the history of creation. And beyond. Anyway, we'd be all Gary Mitchell, though. We'd be like, P.O. Box, you don't have the wisdom yet. You're still just a rotten P.O. Box at heart. It'll just laugh at us and swallow us whole. Yeah. Anyway, if you do decide to support us on Patreon, that's Trexploration. That's patreon.com/Trexploration. You can join our crew of intrepid Trexplorers. Those include our cadet Listen Linda, our lieutenant commander Scott Seligman and Cosplay Dad, and our captain Charles from Texas. Captain Charles. You can also be like the omnipotent Willard.
The omnipotent Willard.
I always have to turn my volume down when you do that. He has also supported us, so thank you to the omnipotent Willard as well, and to everyone that's watching and sharing and liking and just getting the word out there about Trexploration. You can join us here on the YouTube channel. You can follow us on the Patreon without becoming a member. You don't have to pay. You can just become a member over there and show us your support that way. And really, just spread the word. Thank you so much for all of you who have done so far. And send us your photos. We'll put you in the credits at the end of the show. I still have to get around the fact that this is a visual show, not just a podcast. So
like
photos,
and subscribe.
Photos on the podcast. I don't know.
Podcast. Yeah, it's the future. They added video now to this radio thing.
It's like pictures on the radio. What do you call something like
moving
that?
pictures. I don't know. It's like telecommunications, but with vision. I'm not sure.
I don't know. Just full stop. Boop, 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 stop.
Boop, 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 stop.
All right. This is normally where we do have feedback from the other shows that we've done, but I was right up against it before production time, and I didn't have a chance to look at feedback. So, was there any, Albie? You're better at
feedback
that than
palooza next time. I think we got a comment from Cadet Listen Linda, and we appreciate that. It was about the new thoughts on the new Strange New Worlds trailer.
Oh, okay.
Want to talk about that now or later? That's up to you.
That's up to you. I mean, we can talk about that after the break. We can talk about Strange New Worlds. You know what I think? I think Strange New Worlds, though, people are into it. You think it'd be better to discuss it up top?
Yeah, we can do that. Let me play it. Let's see if I can get this going.
And then we'll talk about Where No Man Has Gone Before, and I'll let you know why it was my favorite episode and remains one of my favorite episodes, if not my favorite of all time. It has a lot more competition now than it did when it was just 79 episodes. I'm including all of Star Trek in that.
Strange New World.
Let's see. When the Strange New World. When the Strange New World.
Now I'm going to rewind it. Now I'm going to share it.
Season 3 trailer. Oh, I was just going to watch it on my YouTube over here on my phone.
Oh, I'm gonna do it all kinds of cool and stuff.
Wow, you're a groovy lad. Yeah. Are they going to kick us off the YouTubes for this, or are you allowed to play trailers on YouTube?
We've already been bumped a couple times, so.
But I mean, people are always doing trailer.
Yeah, but if we're commenting on it, it's totally legit.
Is that legit? Too legit to quit? All right. Is there sound and fury signifying nothing? Okay, we get the spinny wheel.
Hey.
Okay, like a Viewmaster.
We want to give audiences a reflection of their own world through the lens of fantasy.
What the hell is this?
Okay, yeah, I don't know. This is why when I first saw this, I thought it was a fake trailer. I thought it was like one of those AI trailers that they do for like Star Wars now and the Jetsons. Have you seen that?
Yeah. I've followed that channel a little bit just because they like reimagine what things look like.
Yeah, and it always put it in like Panavision with a 60s sensibility and the sexiest chicks you've ever seen.
Exactly, and a little bit defying physics, but that's fine. It's cartoon.
Okay, now
I'm going to pause this as we go through, just so we can talk about it. Yeah,
all right. So
this to me looks like those exactly, but I think this was produced before that person started doing those, because all this was filmed a year ago. But it also looks a little bit like the USS Callister from Black Mirror. If you remember.
I've heard that. I've seen Callister. It's one of the few Black Mirrors I've seen.
They're doing a part 2 for that now with the upcoming season. So I'm
do they
excited
have
about
Matt Damon in it again, or
yeah, the Matt Damon alike? Okay,
are they going to be able to get the Sophia from Penguin now, because Christian Milioti, whatever her name is, she's
I think
she's a
Black
big
Mirror
deal
can
now.
get anybody. So
She's a great big deal now.
Of fantasy, you know, science fiction.
Kirk,
Why
in
is it
70s,
Space
Undercloth
Adventures?
collar.
See, now this is a question I have for you.
Yes.
Are we gonna? Oh wow, we're gonna have so much talk about.
Yeah.
When it comes out.
I love this because this is like Saturday Night Live.
That's what. Okay,
Trek.
I understand that they like to be goofy on Strange New Worlds.
Yeah.
And they'll lean into the camp a lot. But is this at a point where Strange New Worlds is just like literally crawling up its own ass?
I'm going to give it the benefit of the doubt.
I understand, and so will I. But it's just I see this and I'm thinking like, how do I reconcile this?
To me, I'm thinking it's like a Captain Proton.
Yeah,
thing.
but when they left off
I love
at the end of last season, right? They left off,
Yeah.
and everybody was going to get eaten by the Gorn and turned into egg sacs.
Well, that first episode is going to be just that.
Yeah,
You know,
I mean, so
recovering from
it's
that.
just all over the map, man, all over the map. But
my best theories I've heard is this is part of the holodeck things that they're doing while at the starbase.
doesn't Ortegas look like she has Sally hair from Davy and Goliath, except it's black?
Oh, the stop motion animation.
Yeah, huh?
Absolutely. Yeah, I love that show. I don't like her with that hair as much. I like her with her own personality kind of hair thing she does.
I think the idea is to make the hair look clunky and weird.
But as soon as I saw Captain Kirk in this outfit, I was thinking I'm going to wear this outfit at some point, but I'm going to look like Fat Elvis.
I plan to look like Fat Elvis in my Enterprise jumper, so don't worry
Exactly.
about it.
And I think that'll be the ultimate cosplay. I'll just stick with that from now on.
All right, cool.
Let's hit it.
Did it. 10 new
Our
adventures.
reality has been changed.
All right,
Okay, right here.
Wait, whoa.
We're in the rec room.
Is it the rec room?
It's gotta be.
TAS?
I'm thinking it's,
Or-
from what I hear, it's at the starbase.
But they're saying our reality has been changed. So now do they
Oh.
suddenly have holodecks?
So it's probably a mashup of two different episodes they're doing because we have Trelane. We'll see also.
Are you sure it's Trelane?
Pretty much.
All right.
much.
I don't know if it's Trelane, but
But
let's
it-
see.
'cause-
Let's see.
yeah,
Let's
let's
see,
see.
and then we'll debate.
This
See it? I don't believe it.
the big goodbye. Up. Let's go back to Trelane. He does the Q snap, and as we know,
Oh,
Trelane
that was Pike doing a snap.
Let's watch it again.
Exciting, isn't it?
That's
Not Pike. That's the new
that's-
Trelane.
I don't think it's Trelane, unless he's old Trelane.
They did facial comparisons, and the features are similar. And he's not a kid here because time has no meaning for the Q continuum.
But is Trelane a Q?
Yeah, according to the memory beta stuff. in
No,
the book.
memory beta stuff. Yeah, that's not canon.
Okay, well, it will
So-
be soon, right?
I mean, I read Peter David's book where Trelane is a Q and all that. Peter David's perfectly fine, but I still don't buy that Trelane is a Q.
And that kind of connects to the episode we're talking about tonight. So, yeah. So we either got Q or Trelane, but people are thinking Trelane. Romance.
Good morning.
Hello.
Oh wow!
So this is
and
just
Chapel
Jess Bush, Spock and Chapel.
knocking boots.
Yep, different hair.
Maybe this is the alternate reality that they were talking about.
Oh, and then you get your what's that alien called from the
I don't
animated
know.
series?
Arix, the
Yeah.
Arix alien, shaking 3 martinis. That's the kind of bartender I need.
Yeah, it's funny how they did it. It took me a while to understand what they're doing. They had like a third person behind them with an extra arm or something, but it's interesting.
It's like the
And then we get
Twilight
Patton
Zone with,
Oswalt
did
as
the
the Vulcan.
Venusians have the 3 arms, or the Martians have the 3 arms in the Twilight Zone? One had 3 eyes, one had 3 arms. I think the Martians had 3 arms.
I've seen it all, but
It's when they were in the diner.
oh, that was a good one.
Yeah, that one. Yeah, Patton Oswalt.
All right, here we go.
Good morning.
We apologize for anybody trying to watch along with this. We just keep skipping back and
And
skipping back.
Spock is smiling. I would be too.
There you go.
There's the 3
I'm
arms.
loving the fact that Celia has incredible new hair in this.
Yeah, that looked really cool. Like she's at a fancy thing going on, a little ball. Patton Oswalt, love him. What do you think?
The Roses, Patton Oswalt. I mean,
Yeah.
always look forward to seeing what he's got going on.
I read one of his books, loved it.
He's got a lot of shoulder pads.
Your host is
All right, so
Mystery.
you got to show me this. Like, this is another dumb retro-looking thing.
Yes.
And what is Christina Chong wearing?
It looks like she's Dixon Hill right there.
I got to be honest with you, Christina Chong and Lon. It's my least favorite actor on the show and my least favorite character on the show. So just seeing her like this actually annoys me. Like actively annoys me. I don't know why.
First impressions, right?
With this dumb hat and this dumb tie. Anyway.
I like the fashion. First thing I thought when I saw this was I was disappointed it wasn't in black and white because we were going for, noir in L.A., a murder mystery, which is what the rumors were. So I was thinking like a black and white noir episode. So I was like over the moon stoked for that. But this is more campy and in color and all that stuff. But I like seeing everybody in these outfits because I want the action figures.
But I mean, is this like 60s or is this 30s or 40? Like, what is this?
I think it's supposed to be 40s. 40s in LA.
Celia, though. Celia looks sort of like 60s groovy there. With
That's
the hair
true.
And the
Oh, yeah. And Jess Bush is in definitely like a 70s
right,
fur
so
coat.
are we talking about like, is this more like an Armand Bashir kind of deal?
Might be. Again, in the rec room, probably. But disappointed, but also excited at the same time. I like La'an, so... But yeah, it's just cool to see them that they do these things.
Yeah. Yeah.
And then, of course, we got Kirk again, still more.
Yeah.
So it might be the same episode as the sci-fi, retro sci-fi thing.
It could be. Maybe they're just skipping around to different sort of genres, like the Supernatural episode, changing channels.
What was that John Ritter movie? That was pretty good. Remote Control or something?
I thought that was Weird Al.
Maybe that.
No, that was UHF.
VHS. I got that on 4K Blu-ray. Not VHS. What was it?
UHF.
UHF. Yeah, I have that on
Yes.
4K Blu-ray.
UHF, where I fell in love with the Uncle Floyd show.
Oh yeah, Uncle Floyd.
one of you.
So yeah, 70s. But you know what? This is going to be great for cosplaying because it's just clothes.
I'm bad at cosplay. I got the one cosplay outfit.
You're great at it. You just cosplay the one character. You can expand. Even cosplay dad does what 2 or 3, I think.
Murdered.
Oh, by the way,
70s.
Before we go any further, Tom,
Yeah.
I want to apologize for Albie comparing me to you in any way, as if I can even be mentioned in the same breath as cosplay dad.
He's a pro. He's a pro.
Yeah,
He really goes for it. He
I think we
bleaches
all
the hair, dyes the
realize
hair.
that you overstepped, and I just want to apologize to Albie for bringing the show down. Anyway,
But no matter what, this episode just looks like fun. Or the season, rather. The episode in particular.
yeah, they're leaning into like the more goofy stuff.
Yeah, so this looks like, who does this look
That's-
like?
that's
Carl
Anson
Sagan?
Mount.
Huh?
That's Anson.
No, but like, who is he supposed to be? It's, like some author or something from back then, or
Like a Kurt Vonnegut.
something. Yeah,
Vonnegut had hair like that.
yeah, the hair. That's what I was thinking of.
Yeah, I think I hear. Hang on a second.
You got a photo
compare?
like that?
Look at how crazy is it that this is literally like right at my fingertips.
Wow. Okay, there you go.
You think he's going Vonnegut? They're going full Vonnegut.
Possible.
Do a side by side.
I don't know. I don't know how to do that. I'm lucky I'm sharing the screen. All right. So it looks good.
I'm going to say that it is Vonnegut because again, what are the odds that book would be right there?
And a touch of analog.
It just became After Dark.
In time, we're going to.
Oh yeah, we're gonna wire. She's
Yeah.
got phones in there.
Hello?
It's for you.
Port thruster standing by.
You know what I love about this, and I'm excited for about season 3 of Stranger Worlds? They're just having fun, and after all that, of disco,
Yeah, no, I
we
get
need
it.
fun. We need fun.
You know what? DS9 wasn't always fun, but it was still fantastic.
It
So-
was, but it wasn't. It doesn't stress you out.
Do you realize how rare a show like
Oh, and they have Thanksgiving. It looks like.
All right, and here's the other thing where this is where I think they're again crawling up their own butts because they say, "Do you realize how rare a show like this is?" It's just like, okay, we get it. You're talking about Star Trek. See, Celia looks amazing there.
Yeah, I like her hair.
Yeah,
There we go. Look, I think that's a turkey, maybe, or a ham.
yeah.
So
Maybe they're having
they're
Thanksgiving. I don't know. Space Dad is cooking everybody space dinner
I love it.
for Space Thanksgiving.
It looks like there's other things, maybe rolls, potatoes. I'm not sure, but whatever holiday it is, that adds another holiday to my calendar. So
You're gonna have holiday anxiety.
every day.
What is it we're looking at here? Is that
It looks like some kind of spacecraft. Now,
some
is
kind of
this?
ship?
Yeah, is this? You think? I'm trying to remember. The Gorn. Do the Gorn ships look like this, or is it something
Maybe, I
totally
don't know.
different?
I
Because
think
they still have to resolve the 3-year cliffhanger, whatever the heck this is.
I think it's safe to say that it's a spaceship on the Star Trek.
Okay.
Indeed.
Klingon with a whip.
Yeah. What do you
Like
think
a
of the zombie
Ferengi?
Klingon?
Is he a zombie? He's just screaming.
I don't know.
He's
just a
doing his
weird-
growl roar. Somebody must have died. Yeah, no, he's just
I'm
a
trying to
little
get to the
wounded.
right frame.
Yeah, it's tough to see. It's you're never gonna freeze frame it correctly.
Yeah, but it's not. Luckily it's not the disco Klingons, but it's not the ones we're used to either from the next gen era.
Yeah, they might do a mix of them because
Yeah.
we do have divergence. So they did set it up.
There we go.
Is been running. That looks like they're part of the Gorny Gorn stuff.
Yep.
Yeah,
And we
it's
get a
Gorny
Gorn
stuff.
there.
Gorny Gorn. All right. Those were the Gorn ships, the
No,
three.
Mr. Scott, we make a pretty good team.
Kirk
So
and
this is-
Scotty. What I love is that it seems like Paul Wesley has been featured much more in this than Anson Mount.
Well, this is my hope and dream. I might have talked about this before. I don't know if it was like in our late night pillow talk sessions or if it was on the show. But I'm hoping that, yes, I love Anson Mount and I love Pike, but eventually his story has to become his story where he's just blinking light, yes or no. So then, Kirk takes over the Enterprise. And I hope the series keeps going and they just add, and we finally have our crew. And it's like when they did, what was it, New Voyages or Phase 1 or whatever, but like with a Paramount production budget.
Yeah, but I mean, you'd have to then have Gary Mitchell and somehow bring back the velour shirts that we see tonight. And that's something we can talk about. Anyway,
That's something we can talk about. Overall, what do you think? Are you excited for Stranger Worlds
of
this summer?
course, of course. I mean, I genuinely enjoy Strange New Worlds, so I'm looking forward to it. Even though I'm kind of throwing a little bit of shade tonight, there are just certain things that, out of context, can bump me a bit. But
Right. That's
when you
understandable.
see it in context, it'll probably be just fine.
I was a little disappointed, but now I'm excited just because I wanted black and white. But that's fine. I can turn it.
I was going to say, you can always just desaturate it on your
but
screen.
now that you mentioned the 70s, I'm like, oh yeah, it is the 70s.
It looked very, 60s, 70s to me. So.
Yeah. So,
Anywho,
so we're talking about where no man has gone before, not where no one has gone before.
speaking of the 60s,
Yes.
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 So.
We're probably getting like little glimpses. I'm still stuck on Stranger Worlds. We're probably getting little
But it's
glimpses of the lever ship,
Yeah.
but
yeah.
probably won't be a whole episode. I doubt, but that'd be great.
I don't
But
know.
if
I
all
doubt
these are
it, yeah.
different separate episodes,
Yeah, I think that there's going to be an amalgam of some of that stuff when they're in like the different realities or whatever. I don't know. I would hope so anyway. Just get it one and done.
but it definitely shows a holodeck, so
yeah,
that kind of
again.
gives stuff away.
So you think Trelane is going to be there? Do you think it's going to be with the boing?
I know I'm gonna boing a couple times.
You think he's going to play the harpsichord?
That'd be great. That would be great. But yeah, I'm super excited. Summer. So how far away is summer? We're in spring right now, right?
Yeah, summer will be here before you know it.
Yeah. So we'll be covering those
Summer
live week to week,
of
right?
2025. Yeah, we're going to be going to a live weekly show there, I guess, right?
Yeah, and they drop, I think, late Wednesday night, early Thursday morning. So that's perfect for us to keep our Thursday nights going.
Sounds like a plan, Stan. So yeah, so
Let's
I
talk
mean,
about this where no man has gone before. I have to say, I love the episode, but if this was the first episode I ever saw, I don't know if I'd be hooked. But seeing it, knowing the rest of Star Trek, I love it.
gotcha. So what about? Okay, I guess maybe I should say why I love this episode so much.
Okay, that's a good
just
point.
right off the bat. Maybe a good starting point. At the point that I had become a real Star Trek fan, I'd been watching the reruns on Channel 11 late at night in New York.
WPIX.
When I was a kid, WPIX.
11 Alive.
So, you only get to see a certain amount, or, you fall asleep or whatever. And if you start in the middle of, season 2 and you're really getting into it, then all of a sudden you love this show and you're getting into the show. And then you see this episode where everybody looks different, where the uniforms are different, where Spock is smiling and he's different. And they never really even cop to the fact that there was something called the cage on TV in the 70s when I was watching it. So, and in the early 80s. So unless you were on the Roddenberry, I Love Myself, Great Bird of the Galaxy college lecture circuit, you never even knew that the cage existed. So,
Right.
so for me, I didn't know what a pilot was back then. I didn't really know anything about TV. I just knew I was watching this thing called Star Trek that I had grown to really, really dig. And then all of a sudden, everything was different. And why is everything different? The uniforms are different. The collars are different. Like I said, Spock is smiling. The insignias are kind of all wrong. Everything about it is just a little bit off, but that intrigued me. That actually made me like it more, because I feel like that's what started me wanting to be a writer. Because, well, my mind was just bubbling over with trying to explain, why does this look different here? And how does it all fit in? Because it all has to fit in. It's all part of the same universe. So the fact that they're wearing these beige velour shirts instead of the red shirts for services, well, that's weird. And the fact that Spock is in a gold tunic and not a blue tunic, well, that's weird. And why is Sulu standing? I have a Sulu story about that too. Remind me to talk about that later.
Oh my!
The one and only time I ever spoke to George Takei, unfortunately.
I
Well,
only spoke to him
fortunately,
once.
depending on how you...
I spoke to him once.
Okay. Well, I mean, so when I saw this, it really awakened something creative within me. And whenever I went to go write a Star Trek story after that, like if I thought, I was reading the Star Trek novels at the time, and I thought, okay, if I'm going to do a story, it's going to be somehow retconning all of these inconsistencies. And that's where I always looked for story ideas in these inconsistencies, and why is this like this? And I know that kind of stuff drives a certain amount of fandom crazy, but that is the kind of thing that cemented me in fandom. That's why I got so vested in this, because I had to dig into it deeper and know so much more of the details. And then my cousin, unknowingly, my cousin
Sal?
Scott,
Scott.
God rest his soul. Yeah, Scott passed a while back, but he had the Star Trek Concordance, Joe Trimble's Star Trek Concordance with the wheel on the
on the
cover.
cover.
And the wheel's intact, everything's intact. I mean, the book's a little beat up, but it's
still have
in
it?
great. Of course, I have it. I have it bagged. It's in a book.
Nice.
It's in a box somewhere because my library's in disarray. But
Mr. Ataz over there.
it'll hold it'll hold the place of honor. But then I started really digging into the concordance, the Star Trek concordance, and that's where I learned the names of all the people. I think was it Mitchell relieves Jose Tyler? I think Jose Tyler was one of the at the navigation station before, and Lee Kelso.
I'm not joking, Lee.
I'm not joking, Lee. And yeah, so I know I'm going on and on, but this is so every time I see this episode, I get some of those feelings back. And I think, oh, what did I think about that? What did I think about this? And again, it also introduced so many things that would become iconic Star Trek things. So I think the difference is, it's like the IDIC, infinite diversity and infinite combination. You think I'd be happy to see it on Strange New Worlds. That's one thing I'm trying to reconcile Strange New Worlds with my love of the aesthetic of this episode, of the way the uniforms look, how terrible the velour is. Why is it beige? That kind of stuff. And I know they're not going to address that. I know this is just production stuff that nobody had worked out yet. And that's just the way it is. But
Growing pains.
I would love to see them at least work it out, because they did show a picture of Pike.
Yeah, this is in Degrassi High.
Right. They showed
Or
a picture of Pike and April with their arms around each other, and they were wearing, I think, the velour tunic, and it might have been the beige one from the cage, because they showed previously on Star Trek when they went back to Talos and Disco. And of course, it was just the costumes from the cage, which are sort of carried over here to some extent. So it does exist in that universe somewhere, in that continuity. This is where, I used to make fun of my friend Sean for saying, well, we're in a different timeline because when the Borg invaded, it kind of changed everything. But as we go on with this, and especially since they changed Khan's date from 1996 to sometime in the early 21st century, maybe we are in an altered timeline where these velour tunics never happened.
It's very
I don't know.
possible.
Yeah.
Crush you like a bug.
What? Yeah. Well,
Um,
what do you think? I know I'm going on and on.
I just read tonight. I was reading Memory Alpha, Memory Beta, different things, and so apparently that's a possible theory. Was it in Q squared that takes place in an alternate universe or something?
Oh, Q squared. I read 35 years ago, so don't ask me. I'm sorry, 31 years.
Yeah,
ago.
I was a teenager.
Yeah,
So,
I read it on my
was a
honeymoon,
while ago.
so I know exactly how many years it's been since I read it. Yeah.
You know what I read on my honeymoon? I actually have it at hand.
Oh wow. Okay. So
I am Spock.
we
I
both
brought a
knew how
book
to
with me
ruin
because
our
I'm going on a.
honeymoons.
I was going on a cruise. I was like, it's my honeymoon. What am I going to do? I don't know. So I brought a book by Leonard Nimoy. But it was nice. Read it out on the deck, in the middle of the night in the dark. It was great.
Cool. There you go, with all the stars above.
Sure, I should have been doing something else on my honeymoon, but for the life of me, I couldn't figure out what. When I was younger and watched this episode, it was always a little bit boring to me, same as The Cage. But as I developed a little bit more, I started liking it more and more. And then I got into the whole thing of trying to figure out how does this work in the rest of the Star Trek universe that I know. But now when I watch it, I'm just like, I'm very forgiving now. I don't know if it's because of Strange New Worlds or the different fan-made Star Treks, but I've learned that just, it's Star Trek and it is what it is. And there was production things and they were going to be different. So I don't really think about it all that much. And then, later on we get into the other Star Treks where they're constantly changing and updating their uniforms and stuff. But sometimes I look at it and I got to say this episode, the remastered version is gorgeous. They really worked hard and cared about it. And it's just beautiful. But it makes you see these other things. You got Leonard Nimoy's shirt. And it has a zipper and Velcro on both sides, so it didn't mess up his ears. And it's just weird looking because they didn't have stretchy fabrics back then and stuff as much. I think that's why they did it. And just the velour. And I always got confused. What's the difference between velour and velvet?
I think velvet's too expensive to make shirts out of. It's just for coasters and pool tables.
Very, very rarely have I seen velour shirts for sale. The Star Trek ones. And they usually were handmade. I don't know if they did a run some of them somewhere, but I only have this one. This is officially licensed, but this is for the next episode moving forward. But I did like the uniforms, and for some reason, they looked really good on the women in this episode. What was it? Smith, Jones.
I don't know. It's just I think that I like sort of the bagginess of them here. There's not that tailored scant thing going on. Everybody's wearing slacks. Everybody's at least in a uniform, not in a mini dress.
Yeah, it's like The Cage again. Yeah.
Yeah, so I think that it has something going with that. Another good thing about this, and I'm ripping off Keith DeCandido here. He's a famous Star Trek author. And I was reading an article that he wrote. I think he was doing just reviews on Tor.com, and he had gotten somewhere towards the middle of the first season of Trek. And he said, it's funny that Star Trek, the original series, is the only show where the characters seem to become less familiar with one another as the series goes on. And he's absolutely right. So thank you, Keith, for pointing that out, because now I can't unsee it. And it's another reason I think I never knew why I like this episode, but these characters are lived in. So it's not just here's Captain Kirk, here's that weird Mr. Spock, here's that Gary Mitchell, that scamp. it wasn't like regular TV introduction. They just all know each other, and they just all interact as they know each other. There's none of, and this happens in the original series as we go on. Spock is integrated into the crew. They'll rib him for being Vulcan. They'll point it out only so that the viewer knows why he's different and how he's different. But they'll also, the fact that they're making fun of him a little bit kind of gives them like this again, that familiarity, that easy friendship, and the fact that they're calling each other by their first names. Jim, he calls him Jim, not Captain
Lee.
but Jim, and Lee. Yeah. And it's like these people have been together for a while, and this is just the first episode. Imagine where they're going to go from here, all these great friendships, and oh no, that just goes out the window.
It does.
As the series goes on. So that's another thing which I never knew, I guess, until Keith pointed it out, why I like these earlier episodes of Star Trek so much more in TOS than as it gets later and later. They're not as formulaic. They're not as stodgy. They're not, and I always say Next Gen is stodgy, but when I say stodgy, I just mean the Kirk, Spock, McCoy triumvirate. And that's it. And you go and you have your alien of the week and your parable of the week, and then you go on wistfully or gleefully or goofily, and you just have your next mission, next voyage. And this is completely different. Like the feel of this is much more akin to like a Battlestar or something, where and not as military, but still military enough.
I did notice that watching it tonight. I noticed that they were all like friendlier, like that found family feeling already that you get like in season 5, 6 of Next Gen, and you never really get it later on as much, I think, in the original series, like you're saying. I never really thought about it that way though, but I wish they would have continued that. That would have been really nice.
Yeah, and I think it's also because they spend time with other crew people in this as well, as opposed to, again, what would become just the Kirk, Spock, McCoy dynamic. So you have Lee and Gary having a scene together.
More ensemble, yeah.
Yeah, and when you get, it's not even ensemble, I guess, because Lee is dead. So it's, so it was just more slices of life from random crew people. When you have in The Naked Time, which I think is the one that aired after this one, you have that guy Joe, and it's just like Sulu and Joe and somebody else in the mess hall. And they're talking, and they're talking like they know each other, and you spend time with these people. It's just not all about the story and Kirk. So yeah, I see the Naked Time had the funky shower curtain spacesuits. Yep.
Yeah, love those.
They were environmental suits, not spacesuits. Yes.
Oh yeah, because they were trying to keep stuff out, right? They didn't want to contaminate. That's why he took his glove off.
Yeah, that's why the gloves are detachable, because you want to keep stuff out. Anyway, we'll talk about that in a few episodes, I suppose. Yeah.
This episode, and the reason they remade the pilot, right, was because the first one was too cerebral.
I think so. Yeah.
Yeah, and this one is quite the same in that fashion, more so than other episodes. Less campy, but I guess not as dry. Would that be the right term?
Maybe. I mean, yeah, there was a little bit more levity. I think Mitchell helped really usher that in. And quite frankly, I love Jeffrey Hunter as Pike, but there is just no one who has the charisma of William Shatner, especially a young William Shatner playing a young Captain Kirk. He's just magnetic throughout. So he's got that same smile that Riker had in First Contact, like the whole time. Yeah, pretty much.
So I think that's what sold it. One thing I just heard researching this episode tonight is that it was in some book somewhere about the history of this. I don't know if you read the book, but it was about Lucille Ball actually like sweeping up the bridge sets and stuff and trying to help out with production.
I would say that's apocrypha. I doubt that happened.
It might be.
Yeah, which book did you read?
I'll send you the link. I didn't read in a book. I saw a video on the book. So
Gotcha. Yeah. I don't think Lucy was even sweeping out her own trailer, much less the freaking sound stage at Desilu.
Yeah, well, for a while she had a cement pillow, if you remember.
No. What?
All right. So Kirk and Spock.
No, you can't just leave that there. We have to tangent into cement pillow. What are you talking about?
Cement pillow was she played a unhomed person. This was a TV movie of the week, I think, in the 80s or 90s, whenever. She was really old, but she played a homeless person. I just remember watching it because I like
Okay,
Lucy.
with
of
a cement
course.
pillow. Gotcha.
Yeah, so it's called Cement Pillow. But check it out if you can find it. It's really good, really good.
Lucy-
Kind of
Lucille
reminded me of
Ball
Ben.
in
You remember?
Cement Pillow.
Was it Ben? The Mickey
Ben?
Rooney movies that happened.
No, that was Bill.
Bill, that was it. My name is Bill.
My name
that
is
kind of
Bill.
thing. Yeah,
Wasn't
Those
he?
were
Wasn't
good
he
too.
mentally impaired in those though?
In those, yeah, but this
Yeah.
one, Lucy just had some problems. Like Ricky wasn't returning her phone calls, and she had a shopping cart.
So it was just like real life.
Yeah, and so this kind of is. Oh, there we go. We got a we got a comment from the omnipotent Willard.
Hey, Willard.
Let me get all the settings right. There we go. And he says,
Cement Pillow. Regarding Cement Pillow.
That was her last movie. I've been wanting to see it again, but I haven't been able to find it. Yeah, if I find it, I'll send you the link. It was good. It sticks in my memory, you know. It was a very special TV movie of the week, but Lucille Ball was awesome. So you think a lot of that is just made up afterwards, all the Lucille Ball connections besides just approving the second pilot?
I think so. And even the thing where she picked it out of like 3 and Herb Solo, I believe it was Herb Solo, was on that Star Trek podcast. They interviewed him, or maybe it was Rick's show. It was Rick Tatro, who's a frequent contributor over at Infinite Potato. He had a show called Starbase 66 years ago, and they interviewed. I think it was Herb Solo. It might have been. Or it
Is
might
he
have
the one that
been-
wrote the book
I think maybe
about
but
the production of it?
so maybe we should put a link in the show notes. But
Okay.
Sala said that, you know, Lucy had no idea what the hell she was looking. She's like, I don't even know what this is about. So it's not like it was too cerebral and let's do this. Like, maybe the studio note said that. But when it came to Lucy, quote, rescuing it, again, I think the myth that has grown up around that is kind of like the Great Bird of the Galaxy myth, that Roddenberry was just this equal opportunity, egalitarian, way ahead of his time guy, because as we see from a lot of the crap in this episode, no, there was a very male gaze 60s dude bro sensibility about all of this right from the jump. I mean, even with the cage, although we did have number 1, I can't get used to these women on my bridge. I mean, come on. One thing I will say about this, and we might as well go into the sexism thing here, because
Yeah, sure.
one thing that did turn me off a little bit, and I haven't seen this episode in quite a while, at least a year, and when I was watching it, it wasn't to hang on. Good night, love.
Good night,
Say
love.
good night. Laura and Lily going to bed. Good night.
Good night. Good night, fam. Congratulations.
So yeah. So anyway, we were talking about Mitchell, and
I'm not jokingly.
I'm not joking. That's my favorite line. Anyway, just the fact that Mitchell is such a douchebag in this, and one bright spot is that Dana just shuts him down with one line.
She's not having it.
And she makes him look like a total freaking idiot. Like, she just calls him out for the asshole that he is. And then he's so flummoxed, he can only, like, you know, double down and just insult her. Like she's frigid. She's frigid because she doesn't like my advances. That's the only answer. I mean, that is so, I'm not gonna say, it's funny because of how Denner shuts him down. But the fact that didn't even faze me the first 100 times I saw this, it fascinates me now that I didn't notice that.
I didn't either. It was a different time back then. We were the fish that didn't know we were wet, but it was still progressive for the time, because he was being that, you know, dude bro guy, thinking that way about women, but they were actually showing a strong female character who was saying no, and well, as for the 60s, on television, she was calling him out on her stuff, where I'm thinking the rest of media around that time would be a giggle, you know. That would be the most you would get as a response.
I really think, though, Dana gets progressively worse in this, because she goes from
Silver Eyes.
Well, but not even that. I mean, she goes from being completely, owning it and being like,
Right.
go screw yourself, you sleazebag, to basically apologizing to him and saying, I guess, professional women can be overcompensated at times or something like that. So it's really okay that you did this inappropriate thing. It really, Gary, you know what? It really is my fault. I overcompensate because I want to be a strong woman. And I know that goes against the grain.
Where I think I interpreted it lately is that she's doing that knowing he's turning, into a god, exponentially. And I think she wanted to stay on his good side. And maybe she was like being a double agent so she could zap him with the lightning at some point.
Do you think that she was turning at that point and maybe she was trying to understand him better because she felt like something was happening to her?
And it might have changed her perspective on everything,
I don't know. I still find it kind of a cheap rollback of what was an amazing first scene.
Yeah. Well, the whole thing was sexist for a long time, even the baked potatoes, But I think even in the credits of the original version of the pilot that they released in 2009 on Blu-ray, it says like the captain's woman. That's one of the things in the credits, So it was just a different time, right? Like Mad Men or something.
I mean, how many more times can we say it was a different time?
I know.
We still have to call it out. So
we do, but I think it was still it was trying to be progressive, right? Oh, Stone Pillow. It's on Prime Video. That's what it was
I think
called.
progressive in the most non-threatening way possible.
Okay.
I mean, I don't know. It's just like to have Denner like almost gaslighting herself as the episode goes on. And then becoming rah-rah Team Mitchell, like to the point where she's in the conference room screaming that he's not dangerous. He's not? What? Didn't he just zap you guys with lightning? He's not dangerous? Like,
They were in that scene. They were a little shouty, don't you think?
Oh, very shouty.
Tensions were high.
Oh, wow.
Both,
okay,
both Kirk and Dana are.
They are. They are. And they're both dumb. They're both really freaking dumb. Because Gary says, Spock is right. He says it. Kill me while you can. You better. You better. Because you're bugs. You're bugs and I'm going to step on you. You know it.
It doesn't get more plain and simple than that,
Spock
right?
just said it. He just said it. Yeah, you better ruin me if you can. Yeah, because you... And they're like, oh, he's not dangerous. What makes you think he's dangerous? Did you just listen to what he said? Just like... That's... Again, as I look at this with more of a critical eye, I think, all right, these are scenes that are written clearly as filler, or maybe so that we can highlight Spock a little bit and have like a Kirk Spock. But again, Danner has the thankless task of having listened to Mitchell just threaten all of them mortally and then coming to his aid. So further regression.
Do you think, because this whole absolute power corrupts absolutely, do you think that was happening to Danar as well? But just she was able to hide it better, but she had this like primordial like feeling that she knew she was evolving and that soon she wouldn't need any of these people, but she was trying to still be the kind person she was and logical person?
I mean, I guess maybe it was more of a struggle for her, but you have to figure that it happened to Gary almost immediately. I mean, he could be maybe because he was a smarmy douchebag. So he was more inclined to be me anyway. It was all about him. It's his ship. We're all just living on it.
Right.
So, I mean, every exploit that he and Kirk talk about is about, drinking, fighting, and getting laid. So, which is fun, but
I almost married that woman.
Yeah. Oh, we could talk about that too.
Yeah.
It
it was very much, even when it started out in the original pilot, with Gary Mitchell walking down the hallways, just looking at the female crew members' butts and stuff.
But I'm just to get back to the original question you posed about Dana.
Okay.
Do I think that she was feeling the same thing? And was she torn? I think that maybe she had much more mental maturity, being a psychiatrist, to understand the forces that might be driving her, the more primal urges that might be trying to take over, so that she could temper them a little bit better than Gary was able to.
Yeah.
And that could be maybe one of the redeeming things about the character towards the end. Am I retconning that? I guess maybe a little bit. It's just because Kirk asked her really nice. So got me. I mean, do you think that that's what she was? Like that? Why she was able to sort of resist it a little bit longer? Did you have a theory?
Well, always watching the episode, I always felt that she just didn't get zapped enough, or her ESPA rating wasn't as high as Gary Mitchell's or something, so it took longer. But now that we're talking about it and looking back at it, I really feel like she was fighting it, whereas Gary Mitchell was just, I'm Superman now, I'm a god.
I'm a mutant.
Ooh, listen, Linda's here. What does she say?
Hi, Linda.
Do you think we'll see Gary Mitchell in Strange New Worlds? I would love that.
I think that'd be fantastic, since him and Kirk are like the dudiest of dude bros at this point in Kirk's life. So he's got to loom large when he's on shore leave, or when they're both able to get shore leave together.
I would love seeing episodes that go right into, I don't know where the Cage fits into the Strange New Worlds timeline, but like you could watch, like if you were going to watch Strange New Worlds, then watch the Cage, watch Strange New Worlds, and then watch Where No Man Has Gone Before, watch Strange New Worlds, and then, I wanted to fill in the gaps and keep going past the 3 years and continue the 5-year mission with Kirk. I think that would be beautiful.
The Cage is before anything we see on Strange New Worlds.
Okay,
Because
so
they
there you
harken
go.
back to it in Disco. So, Willard says, I'm hoping that as we get closer to Kirk's taking over, that we'll see Gary Mitchell. Yeah, so I think that's a good bet. I mean, they're bringing on Scotty. Question, though.
Yes.
Although
Response.
they're doing it with Corby. Is Mitchell a little bit too much of a deep cut for a general audience? But who cares, right? Because they'll just introduce this character. It'll be a new character to people who don't know, and it'll be like, it's him. To those of us who do know.
Honestly think, and I think that's part of the problem, there is no general audience for Star Trek.
All right.
I think Trekkies are watching it. I think if the demographics are going to be Geritol and prescriptions.
How dare you say that about the omnipotent Willard?
The omnipotent Willard. We're aging out of that 18 to 45 group.
Yeah, I mean we're sort of on the cusp of aging out of that. Yep.
Yes, on the cusp. But I don't think your casual viewers are just watching Strange New Worlds and that's all they're watching. So I think they can put Gary Mitchell in and everybody will pop for it, And then we had the actor who played Gary Mitchell in that AI or A1, sorry, that A1 generated Star Trek short film, right?
Yeah, was Gary in that? I don't remember.
I want to say Gary Mitchell for a little bit, and they actually got the guy who played him. What was it? Lockwood something?
Gary Lockwood.
They share the same first name. That's pretty cool.
Yeah, I believe so. It's on the rundown. Look at it.
Yeah. But yeah, he was the one like controlling the CG puppet of that from his like couch or something.
Oh, that's right. Yeah, he had the glowy eyes and everything.
Yeah.
Yep. So,
listen, Linda says, Albie, you're just a youngin'. I'll take it.
You really are, Albie.
I'll take it.
You really are.
Rennie says, when I shave my face, I look 20 years younger. When I let my beard grow out, I look older than I am. So I try to look better for the camera.
Laura says that about me too, but she hates beards. So.
Well, you're gorge.
So anyway, I have here Willard saying the Cage is 3 years before Disco. I think season 3 is about 2 or 3 years before Kirk takes command. I'm not connected to the continuum
at the moment, so
I may be wrong.
Yeah, it's possible.
I think that we got a lot more time on the Enterprise before Kirk takes command. You got to remember that
I like it.
That Spock served with Pike for 11 years.
Right.
And then the accident happened even after that. Mm-hmm. So we maybe are still in the original 5-year mission of Pike's Enterprise. They took the leave of absence after the Disco stuff, and the Cage stuff was only a couple of years before that. So we might be in year 5 of mission 1.
Of the 11.
So okay. I think if they wanted it to, they could go for another, 5 years at least on with Pike as the commander of the Enterprise.
But at some point, I want to see Paul Wesley take over the show.
Okay, well,
why stop it?
I'll be in my 70s. It'll be okay.
I mean, SVU. How many seasons is there of that? Right?
Yeah, but I mean, yeah. Who knows? I don't know.
If
I
people
don't
still
know.
dig it,
Maybe they'll have a wacky comedy called Farragut, and you'll see the exploits of Kirk and Captain
worry about Star
Garravik.
Trek.
Captain Garravik before he gets eaten by that pesky cloud.
I worry about Star Trek all the time because it means a lot to me. And you hear all these news things about, oh, Star Trek 14 is coming out. Oh, no, it's not. Oh, yes, it is. And
yeah,
all different things. And
all clickbait.
yeah, but I watch it because I need to know. You know,
Do you want a new Kelvinverse movie, or do you want a
I'll take
completely
it.
different take?
I'd rather that than no new Star Trek movie. The one that I hear they're working on right now, which is basically a reboot of Enterprise, but without anybody, just the start of the Federation again. I don't want that again because I mean, we got Enterprise, and I'm happy with that. But you know, I don't really want another Calvin thing, but I'll take it. I don't know what Star Trek movie I want. I mean, Next Gen did their thing with Picard season 3 that I would have wanted out of a movie for them. Of course, I want an Enterprise movie. They're not going to do that. I want a Voyager movie.
everybody's
They're not
too
going to
old.
do that. So, I don't know.
Everybody's too old for an
The
Enterprise
Tarantino
movie.
one would have been good. Very bloody, but good.
Bloody trick. That's what we
Yeah.
need. R-rated trick.
All right. So there's a lot more to talk about, and I want to talk more about where no man has gone before and dive deep into it. And then we'll have our thoughts and stuff. And we got lots more stuff to come. We got Trek and Tells. At least I know I have one. And then we got some trivia question. I believe I'm asking Chris this time. Yes. And that'll be all after the break. So we'll be right back with Where No Man Has Gone Before. Skirt. All right. 3 minutes. Talk amongst yourselves. I'll give you a topic. Mike Myers.
All right, I'm going to get a glass water, so I'll be back to see
All
what
right.
they say about Mike Myers, too. I'll be right back.
Be right back.
All right. Hello, one and all. Let me put my earbuds back in. Okay. Let's see. Mike Myers, Shrek. Michael Myers, scary. Yeah, I agree, Linda. The Michael Myers connection to Star Trek. I know you both know it. Let me know. What is the Michael Myers? What is the
Captain
Michael
Kirk's
Myers
mask.
connection? I was asking Linda.
Oh, Linda. So sorry.
You ruined it. You ruined it.
Freddy's glove.
It was Freddy's glove, exactly.
Freddy's glove. Shrek and Michael Myers is scary. Yep. That's the difference. Mask. That was a good movie. That had the guy from Back to the Future in it, right?
Eric Stoltz.
Eric Stoltz. Woo! All right, coming back from the break. And we're back! Welcome back to Trek Exploration. I'm Albie.
I'm Chris.
Thank you for sitting through those commercials. That really helps us out. And we are talking about Where No Man Has Gone Before, the first episode with William Shatner in it. What do you think about the Shatman? He's still alive.
He's the greatest. Are you kidding? I mean, listen.
He went to space.
The popularity of Shatner ebbs and flows. Shatner is sometimes the greatest. Sometimes Shatner is the pariah. Sometimes Shatner is the parody of Shatner. But I think that no matter what, he just keeps rolling with everything. And guess who's 91 and in space? Not me.
Not him. Oh, did you see his April Fool's thing? I was a little upset with him at first, but then I realized, oh, April Fool's. He got me. He was going to Mars. He was going to be one of the first people on Mars.
Oh, yeah.
He was mentioning the people that would get him there, and I was like, really? He's connecting them with that dude? But then I realized it was April 1st, and he got me. But he was already been to space, so, I mean, I was like, okay, you know. Because it was a long post about how it was a difficult decision, but he's, you know, later in life, and, you know, if he didn't go to Mars now, when would he? Kind of thing.
I guess if not now, when?
Yeah, some people crap on Shatner here and there, but, you know, I like him.
So we were talking about before the break, actually up top, about some of the inconsistencies with this. So the Valiant is supposed to be that, listen, Linda says, I thought that in this episode, he was the most unchanged character. By he, I think she means
Kirk was Kirk, yeah. Just the outfit, I think, was different.
Yeah, but I mean, like Shatner had it nailed from the beginning. I think because Kirk is Shatner, quite frankly.
Yeah, that makes it better, right?
Kirk is just Shatner.
Turn it up to 11.
Yeah. So I think that one of the funniest things that I still can't figure out, and same thing happened in The Cage. And again, because they didn't have Starfleet figured out, they didn't have the Federation figured out. It's just they're out there with United Earth Probe Space Agency or whatever they called it. Yeah. Kudos to Enterprise for incorporating that into the lore and having like a big seal for the United Earth Probe Space Agency. So, I love the fact that the Valiant left 200 years ago to go to the edge of the solar system at sublight speeds. It would take you couldn't get to the nearest star in 200 years at sublight speeds. How did the Valiant get to the edge of the freaking galaxy?
The science part bumped me.
Right?
It did. Now, we're not at 2065 yet. But still, if they're sublight speeds, I mean, well, and even it doesn't really match with the rest of Star Trek, because I think this and one episode of Discovery or one story arc of Discovery is the only time we leave the galaxy, the Milky Way galaxy, right?
No, not true. Star Trek left the Milky Way as well in the one with Sargon and Thalassa, and where the other guy takes over Spock. They shoot them out of the galaxy to go back to their galaxy.
Okay.
And in the remastered version, you can actually see like the disk of the Milky Way the distance while they're in the big black void between the galaxies.
But what I'm saying is we're not regularly traveling outside of the galaxy. We stay pretty much to our quadrant of the Milky Way, right?
Yes, I'm sorry. I didn't mean to actually.
Technically, you are correct, sir. Right. But I was just thinking in day-to-day stuff, I mean, they leave the galaxy? And every mathematical thing you see, it's like it would take 200 billion years to even get across it and stuff.
I'm confused about the galactic barrier. And I know I made fun of it, like, why don't they go over it or around it? But first of all, there was a galactic barrier. It somehow doesn't read on any of their sensors. The only thing you can do is see it. How do you see any other galaxies beyond ours? Like, how can there be an observable universe if we have a galactic barrier? Number two,
yes.
If you want to go out of the galaxy, you don't go the long way through the whole accretion disk. You just sort of go up or down, you know?
Always my thinking. Like, whoop, we're out. Okay, we're back. Exactly. It's like, that makes no sense. I like in the updated special effects that they made the barrier like bigger and more expansive, because it just that was always my thing as a kid, just go above it or below it.
Yeah. And I think they even copped to the fact that the galactic barrier is a stupid idea. And what can we do to make it so that, okay, there's some deniable plausibility that, or plausible deniability. I think it's deniable plausibility though, that they can't go around. It's above them. It's below them. It's everywhere.
They're not thinking three-dimensionally.
I guess.
I was going to say fourth, but not three-dimensional. I like that they made it less opaque than the original version because it made it more like gaseous and like electrical. Like maybe we can't see it from here, even though now we could. And that's another thing. Like Shatner, we went from a time where like you really couldn't see that far in space when they were doing this show, even before we went to low Earth orbit, the moon, stuff like that. Or around the same time as low Earth orbit, but not the moon. But we weren't able to see beyond like what we can today. Now we can see as far back in time as we think exists for this revolution anyway.
I forgot
alive.
about your multiple we're an AI construct anyway, right?
I don't know, but even if we are in the Big Bang and all that's right, big inflation and it expands and then it collapses and then it expands again, there's no reason to say it can't do the exact same thing every time.
Albie's got a squeeze box he wears on his chest. That's a visual joke. Yeah.
That's
Anyway.
Aerosmith.
Oh God! Oh,
Mama's got a squeeze box.
I'm going to fly to Florida and smack you in the mouth.
Guns N' Roses. Who sang that?
You're dead to me.
Oh, it's Aerosmith. No,
It's the
I
Who.
guess, did they remake it?
It's the Who. If Aerosmith sang Squeezebox, I've never heard it and I never want to hear it.
Oh my God.
But by
Okay,
this way, sidebar: Aerosmith sucks. Okay,
that's what you keep
moving
saying.
on.
My favorite rock band. Omnipotent Willard says 2245 to 2250 Captain April Enterprise first 5-year mission, 2254 The Cage, 2258 to 2259 Klingon Federation War, and 2259 Strange New World Season 1 and 2, 2265 Where No Man Has Gone Before. Okay.
So we have
We're
at least
there.
another 5 years.
We're right in there.
Yeah.
Okay. Let's talk about some of the characters in this episode that we don't get anymore. We talked a little bit about Gary Mitchell, a lot about Gary Mitchell.
Yeah,
do you have anything more to say about Gary?
I mean, I do love Gary Lockwood. I thought he was good. I thought it was really good in 2001.
Yeah.
And I think part of the reason why I like this episode is because I like that actor. So just if you're going to put someone in an ensemble, even as a one-off, I mean, he knew that he was going to die at the end of the script. He still felt like a lived-in member of the crew. It's not like he phoned it in as the guest star. And I don't know if that had something to do with him getting the role on 2001 after Star Trek was over or whatever. But I think the dude's just, consummate actor and a big part of the reason why a lot of the cheesier stuff in this works. Even though he's cheesy to the hilt, there's still some kind of grounded factor going on there. I don't know. All right. We just got someone saying, what? I think we got spammed. I think we got some spam.
Maybe. Or somebody's complimenting us that I don't understand. All right. Paul Carr played Lieutenant Lee Kelso.
Yeah, Paul Carr is fantastic. I love Lee. And Lee and Gary in this episode, they could do a whole freaking mini-series about just the Lee and Gary running the bridge. They are so much more dynamic, so much more interesting, I'm sorry, than George and Walter. I mean, Sulu and Chekhov are supposed to be friends, but the 4 lines that we get to hear between them throughout the entire original series pale in comparison to just the way Lee and Gary interact in the medical bay. So what did you think of Paul Carr?
I always liked him, and it's weird because he's only in this episode because he dies, right?
Yeah,
by like tube asphyxiation with strings attached to it. No strings in the remastered version though. But he seems to occupy in my mind a bigger part of Star Trek just because probably I've seen the episode so many times and the performance was so good. I would like to see in Strange New Worlds if they add characters like they have been doing that we do see that episode maybe with Lee and Gary. That'd be cool, like a Shuttle Pod 1 type thing.
Yeah, that'd be cool. I mean, I can't really figure out if they would do something like that without having like Paul Wesley in as the Kirk.
Yeah.
Do you think they would? I don't know.
Because
they already have enough people on the Enterprise as it is on Strange New Worlds for their own ensemble.
So far, I haven't got an original series character on Strange New Worlds that I was like, oh no, not yet, or no thanks. To me, I'm just like, yes, give me more. I'm hoping one a season at least. Who's the next one? Who do you think the next one will be?
of Strange New Worlds.
The original
they
series
reveal?
characters in Strange New Worlds. Yeah.
Yeah, no.
So we just got Scotty.
Roger Corby.
Oh yeah, that was
Yeah.
they said that was coming.
They
out,
kind
right?
of they kind of telegraphed that. So I
Yeah.
think Roger Corby's going to come on at some
Yeah, he's
point.
pre-Robot Guts Corby, right?
Yeah, he's not Yarn Guts Corby yet.
Corby. Now, Dr. Mark Piper, which is we had another doctor before we had the Force.
Bones.
Bones,
Yeah. So we had Boyce first. And then
Boyce. I like
Piper.
Boyce. I really like Boyce.
They really had a type in mind for the doctors in
Yeah,
these
old
pilots,
guy.
and old like country doctor kind of thing.
Yeah.
So I mean, D looked old, but at least he had brown hair. I liked Piper in this. Again, I just sound like a broken record. His interaction with Kirk, they seem like they were friends. They seem like they knew each other. Again, it's just the use of the first name and the fact that they talk to each other as if they respect one another. It's not just yes, captain, no captain, fly the ship that way, lieutenant. You know, and I feel like I don't know.
To me, this is all
Strange
that's
New Worlds
missing.
does try to grab that. Just try to grab that vibe.
DeForest Kelly's all that's missing from that. So I think that would be the last character we'll get on Stranger Worlds, which would be Bones, probably.
Yeah, I wouldn't be too. I would want to see Piper first, right? Because he would have to be somewhere in the mix.
I'm
Vega
loving Mbenga.
stays.
I'm loving
well,
Mbenga.
Yeah, and he stays on. I mean, he's on when Kirk is on. The
Yeah,
Enterprise.
quite
He's
quite far into season 1, right?
The,
Or
yeah,
when's
he's the
last time
Vulcan
we seen him?
expert.
Yeah.
We see him twice. We see him. I believe the first time Spock tries to mind meld with the Horta. No, not
No
that
kill
one.
eye.
No kill eye. I don't know. I don't remember when we saw it, but I know he was on twice, and I know he was smacking Spock in the face to get him out of like a healing coma. With double fists, he was doing this because Chapel was just like.
That was a good choice to bring Mbenga on, I think, other than what were the people talking about Jeffrey Combs as Boyce?
Yeah, I think they do, just because he could grow a mustache. And Boyce didn't have one, but Boyce would look good in a mustache.
It would freak me out.
God, I'm so sorry, Albie. I didn't mean to ruin
It's
it
okay.
for you.
Soon, like with A1, they'll be able to I'll just be able to type in remove mustaches from this episode and I'll be fine. will be fine.
Dios mío. Dios mío.
All right. What else do we got to talk about in this episode? I want to know, like, why do you love it so much? I mean, I love it, but it's not like my favorite episode. I don't know what my favorite episode is currently, but
Yeah, no,
why
no,
is it your
aside-
favorite episode?
Okay, aside from that, yeah. I'm getting some kind of feedback. Is it you? Is it me? I'm getting something. But
I'm
anyway.
not sure. I'll fix it in post, though.
Okay, fix it in post.
Sean says the best TOS episode is Devil in the Dark. Yeah, it's pretty good.
Sean, that's laudable. That is not
My
bad.
my favorite original is same as most people, City on the Edge of Forever.
Yeah. So Devil in the Dark is a fantastic
great.
episode of Star Trek. Yeah. But
Arrogance, hubris.
The other thing that you asked me, why do I like this one?
Mm-hmm.
Again, it's because it's the raggedy edges and the fact that the first episode of Star Trek is almost like the Twilight Zone. I mean, it really is. Actually, both first episodes are like the Twilight Zone because they deal with mind control, Esper powers. In this version of Star Trek, ESP is real, pyrokinesis is real,
Right,
telekinesis
Firestarter.
is real. Yeah, Firestarter. I mean,
I'm thinking they
ESP
were
is a
thinking that was a
fact.
documentary and not a movie.
And they said even they can. Spock said something to the fact of I wrote it down. Why can't I say it?
Well, they know Vulcans, and in Voyager, Tuvok or Kes can start fires with their mind. So
Yeah.
maybe that's a
So-
thing. What do you think about ESPN?
But I mean, in humans,
Yes.
I think that's a very '60s thing because you're going into sort of like the psychedelic movements and things like that, and just the whole concept of expanding your mind and accepting that there might be intangible sciences like parapsychology or whatever that we just don't know enough about yet, but we will learn. So that was kind of a neat thing for Star Trek to embrace as something that is a tech-based future. Yet here we have espers, here we have fire starters, here we have people who can move things with their minds. Here we have one other thing that Spock mentioned. It'll come to me. Did that bump you from that?
It did for a long time as a kid because I was always like, that's more fantasy than science. But then science that we don't understand yet, we would think is magic, of course. But that was a very 60s thing where understanding we didn't know everything and be more open-minded. I think now we would have had more evidence by now of stuff like that.
Maybe, yeah.
So that's why we're so dismissive of it right now. But back then, not so much, maybe.
There have been studies. Most of them have been debunked, and the people who have actually, perpetrated fraud have come forward.
Reading the backs of playing cards. I think
and so they're basically saying X-ray vision exists.
Yeah,
too.
And when Spock is saying that, I'm like, are you talking about a magic trick? Some magician? Are you getting
no? Denner says reading the backs of.
Oh, is that who says it?
Spock says something to the effect of see through solid objects. Yeah. So
that was Superman, right?
That's what I'm thinking. Gary's really becoming an X-Man. He's got
see
fire
through solid
vision.
Objects with technology. They're using Wi-Fi to see through walls now, because humans blocked some of the Wi-Fi signal, so the computers can get the Wi-Fi signal and actually see through your walls.
What is this? Batman: The Dark Knight?
No, just how it works now.
Okay, so the Wi-Fi is X-ray vision.
Kind of like that, yeah. Because the vacuum of Wi-Fi is human shaped now, so they can follow you around your house through your walls.
Wow.
Yeah,
that's not paranoid at all.
Not at all. But I never really believed in the supernatural kind of stuff, but growing up, there was always like the time life mysteries and everybody was always afraid of quicksand and blah, 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 blah.
Coincidence? I think not.
I think not. They both had a sandwich, right? And what else?
A man makes a tuna fish sandwich. 600 miles away, 20 minutes later, his sister makes a PB&J. Coincidence? I think not.
I think not. Okay.
So
Sean says, you guys like the Abrams movies? I do. I enjoy them. I don't love them, but I enjoy them. They're a fun adventure. They're a popcorn movie, but I don't care about the characters as much. Does that make sense?
I think they're right.
I don't hate it.
I got to tell you, Into Darkness was a shit show. I did not like that.
There's a couple things.
There was so much wrong with Into Darkness. They got the characters so fundamentally wrong. I thought
the whole Spock screaming Khan. I was like, no.
And just the way Kirk acted in that is just it wasn't Kirk. It wasn't Kirk. But regardless, I did like 09. I thought that it was okay. It was kind of like a slapdash thing, time travel alternate, but you had to establish the timeline. And Beyond was fun.
Yeah, Zoe Saldana. That's my main reason I like the 2009 ones.
And I'm not a huge Benedict Cumberbatch fan, so
I did like Sherlock.
So that was always didn't really juice me. I like him as Doctor Strange. That's about it.
Oh yeah, he was good as that. The whole he's not Khan for months when everybody knew he was Khan, and then he was Khan, and it was supposed to be
even Entertainment Weekly had Kirk and Khan like in headlines on the cover, and then they retracted it. Yeah.
So the people who knew who Khan weren't surprised that Benedict Cumberbatch was Khan. So it had its problems, but I'll take a fourth.
That being said, getting back to other reasons why I like this. Again, it's that sense of possibility. It's that sense of broader ideas than Star Trek would eventually embrace. Believe it or not, after this, Star Trek shrinks considerably, and all of the mystical stuff gets foisted onto the Vulcans. That's all Vulcan. It's like in Goodfellas when he said it was among the Italians, real greaseball shit. Anything that has to do with the mind, it's among the Vulcans. It's real Vulcan shit.
Yeah. So, but there was always like a scientific explanation, kind of, for the mysticism stuff.
No, I don't know, because
their brains are different and they can sense the thoughts through the nervous system,
points and all that stuff. Yeah.
Yeah. So.
I get it.
It's explainable.
Even the Admiral didn't believe it when in Star Trek 3, Kirk was just saying, we can go get Spock. And he's like, I never believed in Vulcan I never understood Vulcan mysticism. And he said, you don't have to believe. So there are even humans that are just like, what is that? Go wave your woo-woo stick over there, Vulcan,
Yeah.
But in this, it's all of this stuff is just taken as fact. So that to me, again, as a storyteller,
Very one-off. Yeah.
is a very intriguing place for Star Trek to be when we know what it becomes.
Although we're only getting that from Dr. Danar, right? So she just might be.
So she might be like a conspiracy nut.
Yeah, it's possible, right? I'm sure they exist up there.
Maybe, I don't know.
Willard has a Trek and Tell, so that'll be later, and that'll be awesome.
Yeah. So I mean, what did you think of Spock in this?
I liked him. He pretty much was Spock. He was less the happy, smiling Spock, right? Because he was very serious about we need to kill Gary Mitchell. He was right. The collar always bothers me. I think he's more the Spock we know in this one, and I think the relationship between Kirk and Spock, as when we start out with the 3D chess, it's one of my favorite scenes between them early on in the series.
Yeah, and Spock does give a grin there, and it does have a look of consternation. And now, again, this is one of the benefits of having these prequel shows, retconning in my mind the relationship between Spock, as played by what's his face?
Zachary Quinto?
No, the good Spock, not the bad Spock.
I can do it. Gable, Clark Gable's nephew? No.
That's what I was saying, Gable. Yeah, I was going to
That's
say
the other
Gable
one.
too. We'll
Clark
get it at
Gable
one
movie.
point.
Yeah.
I can
do it.
remember. Yeah,
I love
anyway.
him too.
So
You keep talking
we'll
and I'll
just,
keep thinking.
we'll just say Strange New World Spock and Strange New
Yep.
World Kirk. They've had
Peck,
some
Ethan Peck.
Ethan Peck. Thank you,
Oh,
Linda.
you got it at the same time as me. But she got it before me because she had to type it. I just had to shout it out.
So yeah, so Ethan Peck and Paul Wesley, I think, are showing a little bit of chemistry in Strange New Worlds, even though they don't really know each other yet. And I can now picture that as part of the backstory of the two people we're seeing in the briefing lounge. What the blank is a briefing lounge? It sure looked like a rec room to me.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I do like that in Strange New Worlds that they're doing that. When they met for the first time, I was like, "Ee!"
Yeah.
So,
Yeah.
Thanks.
And yeah, I think that, to answer my own question, I think Spock's really good in this. I think that Nimoy is circling around the character more than he did in the pilot of the Cage. Like Spock was, even though he smiled a bit
and limped a bit.
Well, yeah, I think he had a broken leg, right?
Happens.
Even though he was injured and giggly, I think that he was a lot more. Sensors, so, screen on. He was very bellicose.
Very shouty. They probably had bad microphones, and he was told to be loud.
So I think that they're getting now. I don't know if it was the director, if this was Goldstone's doing, but just giving
Now
Spock a little bit more nuance, right? So
Yeah.
And again, no one plays a Vulcan like Nimoy can play a Vulcan. Some have come close, but nobody can do it. And it's nice to, if you watch these in order, see him sort of hone in on what the character would eventually become.
I have to always watch them in production order because then it gets too confusing if you don't.
Yeah, we never even mentioned that up top, that we are watching these, or did we? That we're watching these.
Maybe.
I know we did the last show, but up top we should have.
Yep.
We're watching these in production order because
order.
it just makes the most sense. And
It does.
You
No
can see
reason
the
to skip
visual
around like they
continuity
did.
start to shift. You can see all of this stuff start to fall into place. So.
Not that I don't like the man trap, but you don't start there.
Yeah.
Right. Sean says, is the Gorn in Strange New Worlds? Yes, they are, and they're doing amazing with them, I
Sean,
think.
haven't you seen Strange New Worlds? Of course.
It's time to watch that. It's really good. And listen, Linda says, I like that Strange New Worlds is trying to marry the earlier version of Spock to what we all think of him now. I agree.
Yeah, I think that Ethan is staking his own claim on that. He's getting this groovy before time where Spock can be amorphous. He can be smiley if he wants to be. He can be shouty if he wants to be. It just really depends on his mood. He's still becoming Spock. So I mean,
think
he is Spock, but he's becoming our Spock.
Sometime towards the end of Strange New Worlds, I think we're going to see Ethan Peck Spock probably suffer some hearing loss. So he has to talk louder and also suffer some traumatic something that makes him go back to trying to have the Vulcan philosophy of non-emotion. So we'll see an arc and then a return, if that makes sense. I hope, if it goes on long enough.
I mean, I guess characters evolve. They tried to do that specifically with T'Pol in season 4 of Enterprise because what was Mandy Cota's mantra? Fix the Vulcans was like the first thing on his list. So make
Odyssey
them a
5.
lot less.
Tell me how Odyssey
angry.
5 ends. Okay. Before we do all the things we do at the end, I just want to ask you, lastly, about where No Man has gone before. Lastly, on our discussion of it, what do you think about the whole message of the episode? Because I'm getting absolute power corrupts absolutely, and maybe we shouldn't evolve as a species and stuff. But I'm a little confused about it. Explain it to me how you see it.
Well, I mean, I can't help but see it the way that Ken Ray saw it on Mission Log, because I listened to all of their episodes. And thank you, Linda. I will talk about Sulu. I'll tell you.
Awesome.
Linda asked, please talk about Sulu.
Thank you for reminding us.
Yeah, thank you. So I think that part of the problem of Star Trek in general is the fact that somehow, it's General and his penguin. Somehow
General Grievous
growing too much or advancing too far somehow strips you of humanity. Like being human is this special thing, and we're all meant to suffer,
struggle,
and struggle and strive. And if you're not striving, then you're not having an authentic human experience. And so the fact that we have Mitchell here having this power thrust upon him and not having the struggle to give him the temperament and the wisdom to embrace it wisely. That's the message here. Don't do too much too soon. Don't bite off more than you can chew, because at the heart of it all, we're still disgusting, filthy animals who are going to do what we want to do in the worst way possible because we're savages. Right. We still have a lot of growing up to do. We're not ready for this level of evolution.
Come back in 1,000 years.
Yeah, or a couple of millennia is what they said, really. So I guess that's a very Star Trek message, but at the same time, I don't always agree with that message.
Right.
Sometimes it annoys me. In this one, it's more of a parable, especially in TOS. You're getting more parables than anything else. You're getting the parable of the week. So, this one is about too much power and absolute power corrupting absolutely. Gods need mercy above all. You said you're going to squash us like ants. So there is no equivocating here. What's happening to Mitchell, despite Denner's protestations, it's bad. And it's meant to be bad. And we're meant to be glad that he's been stopped. What about you?
It's about that. And I didn't really think that when I was younger, I didn't think absolute power corrupts absolutely. I didn't think that was a necessary I didn't think that was necessarily the next step, and it always happened, but it seems to. Very rarely in our society, at least currently, do we have people with ridiculous amounts of power not being corrupted. And if you know what I'm saying, it's very hard to see. There's very few philanthropic, I think is the
philanthropic.
Word. Thank you.
Yes.
I just browsed the script. I didn't, memorize it. It's very rare that you have someone with immense power be philanthropic, but it does happen. But it's not the norm. Let's say.
I think that what you also have to realize is that currently the way things are set up in the reality we live in, who is going to seek that kind of power? People who just want it for power's sake,
right?
Instead of gaining wisdom and the maturity. I think that's what Star Trek is really all about. It's going on that journey. We were discussing it up top. It's not the destination, it's the journey. Going on that journey is the important part, so that we can evolve to develop that power naturally, not have it thrust upon us, not grasp and seek for it for its own sake, but it just being a byproduct of our growth and our evolution. And it will just come naturally, and we'll know what to do with it because it has come naturally. It's not just something that us with our lizard brains can grasp to now and say, me, mine, mine, mine. I'm a wealthy miser.
Like
I love
Daffy
that.
Duck with that
Yeah,
pearl.
exactly. Thank you for getting it. And the show's over. Good night, everybody.
All right, now it's time. We promised it, and we're gonna do it. We're gonna talk about Sulu.
Okay, so my one and only
You're my one
interaction
and
with
only.
George Takei was
my!
over this episode.
Really?
Yeah. So he was talking at Stony Brook Icon Convention sometime in the late 80s, early 90s. Might have been a little bit later than that, but in that area. And they were taking questions from the audience. And I was really curious to know, because I know he just sort of showed up in the background of where no man has gone before. They just call him Sulu, but they don't tell you what he is. They don't tell you. So I wanted to know, because they call him up for department heads. So I said to George, I'm like, well, going back to the pilot, can you tell me, like, you were in the pilot and you were in the background and you didn't have much. So, and before I could even finish getting my question out, he said, I wasn't in the pilot. And I said, no, in the pilot. He said, no, the pilot was this show called The Cage. And he proceeded to lecture me on The Cage. And then dismissed me, like did not even. So it's ever since then I was, you know what, go fuck yourself.
Oh no.
And we're live.
We're live.
But it infuriated me, because it's just like, no, jerk, I mean the pilot you were in, because this was the second pilot. But he was just so condescending. And I've noticed that with him. He can just go on. You have never met someone besides me who loves the sound of their voice more than George Takei. I mean,
well, he's got a great voice.
Yeah, but I mean, wow. Oh my is right. So he put a bad taste in my mouth that day, because he sort of made me look like a fool in front of everybody, even though I was asking a legitimate question. Yeah, I think that he's the first original cast member I ever met too.
Oh, nice.
Technically, I mean, I don't think I've met him. He was in the room and I talked to him, and he talked back at me.
He signed a 8x10 for me.
But have we ever? I mean, I never got an answer to that question. I still don't know, what was Sulu's role in this.
He must have been a department head of something, right?
Was he the department head of the botany?
Yeah, he must have been, because later on you have that hand puppet plant thing.
Beauregard. That's
cool. Nebna Willard has a story too. Okay. Before we go to calls, we have trivia. Do we do episode crush? You want to do those?
Yeah, sure.
Okay. Who is your episode crush?
Oh, by far, ripped tunic Kirk. We establish a series legacy in this one. Like, this will go on and on as the series goes. So my episode crush is bloody, dirty, ripped tunic Kirk at the end of the fight with Mitchell. Who's your episode crush?
I'm gonna have to go with Sally Kellerman, Dr. Danar. I can't not. She always, there's something about Hot Lips that just did it for me.
All right. Well,
in fact, I might watch some of MASH later on tonight, the movie.
We'll never have to fight over her.
Okay, good. Favorite part of the episode, Chris?
Oh, I had this in my head before. I think it's the scene between Kelso and Mitchell. Even though it's very short, Kelso comes in and C blocks Mitchell as he's just about to get busy with Dana. But again, it's just the way that they talk to each other. You can tell they're friends. That, or when the dude bro moments between Kirk and Mitchell, when he talks about pointing Carol Marcus at her.
Probably, I was just feeling Carol Marcus.
Just so that he wouldn't. He said, "I won't have to read a book in your class if I can get you laid. Let me see if I can get you laid."
Maybe that's what the fourth Star Trek movie will be about.
Yeah,
probably not though, because he was teaching at the Academy at this point. So,
how about you? What was your favorite part?
I have to say, probably the back and forth between Spock and Kirk about killing Mitchell and how he won't abandon his friend. I just think that's very Kirk and Spock, and I kind of went squee when I watched it. All right, so we got trivia questions. I'm going to ask you, while I'm doing that, everybody who wants to call in, feel free to call in, and I'll pick up on everybody, and we can have a six-way going on.
Whoa, hey, that's what you wanted with Takei.
Yeah, exactly. I don't swing that way, but it's George Takei, so you got to have levels of yes and no's. Okay. In the movie The Wrath of Khan, on what starship is Chekhov assigned to first officer? We already read that one. Okay. I'll go again.
did?
How do I have the same ones over and
I
over
think
again?
that you think because they're just so easy that you think we must have read them.
No. I'm actually, we need a statistician, by the way, to help us with that. Okay. In the motion picture, The Final Frontier, what is Nimbus 3's nick? We did that one.
No,
The Planet of Galactic Peace. We did that one.
Jesus Christ.
Okay. Try one more time. From
Linda-
what alien planet does Dr. Phlox hail?
Denobula.
I got you for 3 questions. You got one
That's
right out
I
of
got
3.
one.
If these are repeats, I don't know.
You gave me an Enterprise one right off the bat.
In the motion picture, First Contact. We just did that one. Check it out.
Star Trek Day, live.
What does the Borg Queen offer to Data in an attempt to sway him to her side?
Organic body parts, humanity.
Isn't that what we're always offered, organic body parts, and that usually sways us to people's sides?
Speaking
Got
of
3
George
questions.
Takei-
You answered 2 correctly. You got 2 out of 3. Speaking of, I need some organic body parts. Finish the title of the books that Leonard Nimoy wrote in 1975 and 1995, respectively. I am not blank, and I am blank.
I'm not even going to answer. You know, we all know the answer. Everybody say it together. I guess I got 3.
You got all 3. I am Spock. I don't have I'm not Spock.
I mean,
hand.
what
It's
are the
somewhere.
odds that you would pick that book up and then get that question?
I don't. This is.
It seems to happen all the time.
This is silly. And Poughkeepsie, go ahead.
First time, long time.
You always
First time, long time.
bring me up.
No problem.
Okay, could you guys hear me?
Yep.
Yep.
Hi, Willard.
Okay.
Listen, Linda knew that one. I think she knew all 3.
I think she better have known all 3, Linda. You better have known all 3, Linda.
Yep.
What's your George Takei story, Willard?
Oh well,
Oh my.
the right after Gene Roddenberry passed away, the first convention that they had in Vegas. This is before the big conventions that they were doing. I went. George Takei was the guest there, and this was just before Star Trek VI came out. And so that's what he was talking about more, a lot. And he told a story about Christian Slater. That Christian Slater wanted to be, in it, have a cameo. And he said, you got to look really carefully because he plays an alien. He got all this makeup on him, real hard to recognize. So then I go to see the movie, and you all know, here's Christian Slater, no makeup, waking George Takei up.
Standing there in the doorway wearing nothing but a ring.
Yeah. And then after the speech and everything, we were all able to go up and get an autograph and talk to him for a minute. And I asked him, I think Next Generation, I don't think Deep Space Nine was on yet. I think it was just Next Generation. And I asked him, I said, would you be on it if they asked you? And he said, oh, in an instant. And of course, he did end up in Voyager.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I think at that point he was going on to the fan films. So
Yeah.
I think anything to keep acting or have
Yeah,
any
he
kind of
wanted
relevance.
He wanted a Captain Sulu series.
I think I would have watched that. Yeah, sure. He was
yeah.
great in 6, where he was captain, and he was great on Voyager, and he was good on, wasn't he on Lower Decks? I think so, for a little bit.
You know what I wanted them to do?
What?
And I'm going to bring up Discovery. In Discovery, I wanted them to have an episode where we had George Takei, Michelle Nichols before she passed, and Walter Koenig playing 3 old people that show up in a ship or something. And then at the end, we find out that it's Sulu, Uhura, and Chekhov on a mission that's coming to the past on a secret mission.
I'd watch that.
I wanted them to do that so bad. They never did.
Possibilities. You have a Trek and Tell, you said. The omnipotent Willard has a Trek and Tell.
I do. I actually have a couple. I'll do this one first.
All right, cool.
You should already know what this is going to be.
Nice. Wow.
There's a glare on there.
That looks like the complete
Lower Decks, the
series of
complete
Lower Decks.
series. I'm a little
Complete
jelly.
series, Lower Decks.
Is it
Does
on
that have
Blu-ray?
anything that the other seasons don't? An extra disc or
I
something?
think it has bonus disc. I'm not sure.
Okay. I haven't picked it up yet, but I do
Nearly
have
5
them all
hours of special
single series.
features. 10 disc limited edition. This is the Steelbook, by the way.
Oh wow!
Well, I meant to get the Steelbook for Voyager, but
Mm-hmm.
Discovery, but I didn't realize because I clicked the link on Trek Movie. You know, it said Steelbook, get the Steelbook. I clicked it, and I didn't realize that it just took you to the
Steelbook.
main page. You have to click Steelbook in there.
Okay.
So I ended up ordering the regular, but this one's just Steelbook.
Yeah, that's cool. I like the look of Steelbooks, but I drop things and they dent. All right, very cool.
All right.
Cool. So we've
This
all
one,
met
I
George
just, I
Takei.
just spotted this tonight on one of my shelves. It was really covered with dust. I haven't looked at it in a while, but this is, see if you guys see what this, I can get it without the glare.
Ooh, what is it? What is it?
Okay,
The matching
it is,
game?
It's Star Trek The Next Generation. It's the matching game.
Is that like, what do they call that? Where you flip the cards over and you try to eliminate them?
No, what it is it's got these cards, and you, I don't know where the glare is coming from for sure, but it's got all these, and you've got to put them together. It's like a puzzle.
Oh, okay.
I've never been able to complete it.
I've never seen that. That's interesting.
Yeah, I don't know where I got it. I've had it for, well, probably since late 90s, early 2000s.
That's under that category of stuff that I have that it just is a Star Trek thing, so I buy it.
Yeah, I
Yeah.
do the same thing.
I think that's a very big chunk of Star Trek merch.
Cool.
Yeah,
Very
very
cool.
cool. Thank you, the omnipotent Willard. Thank you for calling in. Thank you for that. Let's see what's next on our list here. I'm going around.
Well, are we doing Trek and Tells?
Trek and Tells. Yes. Do you have a Trek and Tell, Christopher?
I do. It's the only sort of Gary Mitchell thing that I have available. And of course, it's novels. So I guess I wasn't the only one intrigued by the younger years of Kirk and his friendship with Mitchell, or not our friend, but a person who I've met, an acquaintance, and really great guy, Michael Jan Friedman, one of the premier Star Trek authors, wrote these books. They were 3-part. I only have the first 2. I can't find the other one. I'm sure I have the third one in my boxes somewhere, but they're called My Brother's Keeper. And it basically chronicles the beginning of Mitchell and Kirk's friendship at the Academy, and then them serving together, I guess, maybe on the Farragut. And I don't remember how it ends. But yeah, so Michael appeared on that Star Trek podcast, Sean's show. Actually,
getting
Scott's,
guests. Should we
Scott's
get
show
guests?
With that. Yeah,
I
we
don't
should
know.
get. I think we could probably get Michael if we wanted to.
Okay.
And I met him at a local con here. I met him at LI Trek a few years ago, and I bought one of his new books, and he signed a bunch of my old Star Trek novels. I think I might have one up here. Definitely double. Where is it? Yeah, it's not up there. Oh, there it is. Hang on. Boom. So I bought a few of the ones that he wrote in the novel series.
So let me ask you, how does the novel series Memory Beta handle Gary Mitchell? Oh, wow. Chris,
so-
I hope you're happy now. And what's it say? Hope?
It probably says it twice because the book is double.
Oh, okay.
It says,
why I
Chris,
forget.
hope you enjoyed it. Michael Jan Friedman. Yeah. So
That's
very
awesome.
clever, very
So,
clever.
yeah,
So,
so
yeah,
what
I
did-
met
what
Michael.
did
He's
the
a
book say
really
about-
really cool dude. And we sat and we talked for like a half an hour.
What do the books say about the Mitchell times?
I quite frankly don't remember.
Oh.
When I read
Remember
them, I was
enjoying it?
probably in my 20s at that point. And yeah, I think I recall enjoying it. So I must have part 3 around somewhere. But so if you want to get more into the Kirk-Mitchell relationship as chronicled by Michael Jan Friedman, you want to look for the original series novels, My Brother's Keeper, which has 3 parts. I'm sure maybe they have an omnibus version of them now.
Oh, that would be nice.
Yeah.
Very cool. Very
So
cool.
that's my Mitchell Trek and Tell, and you can even tell that they took some of the cover art from Some of the
Yeah.
more like weird poses that Mitchell does.
Yeah, because he was wearing those contacts and you couldn't see.
Yeah, we never talked about that. How did they do that effect?
They were real glass contacts, I believe,
Oof.
with like a silver coating, and it hurt him.
Holy crap.
Yeah, I don't know where I heard that, but it's in there somewhere, so I must have heard it somewhere.
All right, Gary Lockwood.
Got
Go,
one
go.
more.
Yeah. Okay, what do you
If
got?
let me, I've got one more.
Yeah, sure.
Uh,
The Omnipotent Willard.
I thought of this when Chris brought up his books.
Ooh.
That is the autobiography of James T. Kirk.
How is it?
I read most of it, but I've got to go back and start over, I think, because
It's written from the
been a
character's perspective, right?
yeah, it's written like it's Captain Kirk writing it.
Mhm.
And it goes through from his childhood all the way up to, I'm not sure exactly where it ends off at.
I'm
But,
thinking
but it does
he's
cover
writing
the
about
time-
going to the launch of the Enterprise B.
Yeah, it does cover the Gary Mitchell years.
Nice.
It does confirm that it was remind me, guys.
Edith Keeler.
No.
Um.
He talks about Edith Keeler. He talks about
does
all
he?
that. Yeah.
Oh, very cool.
It fills in a lot of the gaps. It helps to kind of, like I said, I got to go back and reread it, I think.
So it
because
does confirm that the girl that was directed to him was David's mom, Carol Marcus.
Yes,
That's it.
Carol Marcus. Thank you.
Yep. Oh, very cool. I just never read it yet.
I mean,
is
it goes
there an
into the
audiobook?
Yeah, it goes into the whole Carol Marcus. Her letting them know that she was pregnant and saying that she didn't want him having anything to do with David. And
So he knew about it, David. I didn't know. He knew
we
about
know
David.
he knew about David because in Star Trek 2 he knew.
Oh yeah, you said you didn't want me to be part of it or whatever.
Yeah.
So this
So it fills in a lot of the gaps, and I think it's closer to canon than anything else I've read. I mean, of course, it's not canon, but I think it does.
well, I love Shatner's autobiographies, so I'll read Kirk's autobiography.
Yeah, I haven't read there's the autobiography of Spock, which I don't have, and then Janeway I've got, but I haven't read it yet. And then
That one will be a good one. She'll be like, I was feeding the dog and hanging out with Mark.
And then I think they just came out with Cisco not too long ago.
And then I know part of it was how many times do I have to be in this bathtub before Chakotay joins me? And he never did.
Well, like I said, I haven't read it yet, but those are the only two I've got, and I believe there's. Ooh.
This doesn't really have to do with the cage, but I figured I'd show it off.
Is that your Trek and Cell?
This is my Trek and Tell.
Is that a Mr. Potato?
This is my Mr. Spock potato head.
Oh, okay.
And it is autographed.
By Mr. Potato himself?
No, by the toy artist that sculpted it.
Oh, okay.
But how cool is that?
That's cool. And you never took it, so it's a mint original packaging.
Yes, I interviewed the guy who was responsible for producing these and sculpting them and different things and licensing them. And I got Jay and Silent Bob autographed by him and Kevin Smith. And I got a Spock, and then I brought one home for Rennie. She opened it. I forget what it was. It was a troll or something.
Cool.
Something. That was my Trek and Tell. That's it. All right, so let's take this one home.
Yeah, I think we're going 2 hours here now.
Yep.
So
we're at our limit. So we did that. Final thoughts. 5-digit silly ratings object. Did you want to rate it, Willard, while you're here?
Yeah, well,
Five?
it's been a while. Again, like I've broken record on this, but it's been a while since I've seen it. Probably a couple of decades, but a lot of it is clear on my mind. A lot of that's just one of those episodes that just sticks with you.
mm-hmm.
Gary Mitchell with the silver eyes, like we were talking about earlier. Did you guys mention the tombstone? The James R. Kirk?
Not yet.
Not yet.
But I remember the whole smashing the rock down. So it is one of those episodes, I think, because a lot of it sticks in my mind. It's out of 5, right?
Yep.
I would probably give it maybe a 4 out of 5 silver eyes.
Okay.
All right. We'll take it. We'll take it. We're going to let you go now, Willard. And we thank you so much for joining us. And please call in again. And those were awesome Trek and Tells.
Yeah,
and
thank you
for all that.
You guys doing this on a regular time makes it easier for me too. Although I forgot, I had to.
Yeah, that's what we're trying to do. We're trying to get it. We're trying to get it.
you sent a notification out while I was still awake, but I was already in
That's
bed.
good, right?
So I had to get up.
That's good.
and put it in.
Okay.
All right.
Thank
Good
you,
night,
Willard.
Will. Thanks so
Listen,
much for
Linda,
joining us.
That's great.
And remember to stay on until it's fully uploaded.
Yeah, now I think it cut off and started a second track, so I hope you get both.
Yeah, I'll get both. Make
We'll
sure we
figure
get
it out.
both. Thank you, Willard. The omnipotent Willard.
Hey.
Okay. How do I?
I don't know.
What's the button? What's the button?
Willard's he's doing that freeze smile like at the end of The Naked Gun.
Oh, I love it. Yeah, there's a new one coming out.
Hang up on me.
I'm
You want me
trying.
to do it? I've got a lead
trying to
button here.
figure
You want
out
me to do it?
how. Let me see. And goodbye. Yes. So many buttons to confirm. Thank you, Willard. Love the. I want to read the autobiography of Captain Kirk.
Yeah, I never even considered stuff like that.
I do love biographies. So usually it's because they're nonfiction, and my brain seems to like nonfiction when I'm reading.
Yeah,
But
no,
it's
nonfiction is
fiction.
good.
So it's a fiction autobiography.
It's a fiction. It's like Stitch in Time by Andy Robinson, right? The Garrick book.
That's a good one. I
That's
had
sort
that.
of like the only thing that I've ever read in that vein.
Oh,
And I'm probably thinking about it because they just mentioned it on that Star Trek podcast when they did their review of the Strange New Worlds trailer. And then they talked about their favorite alien species in Trek.
Stitch in Time. They just did make an audiobook of that with Andy reading it. So
Yeah.
wanna get that.
Rick had mentioned that it was fantastic with Andy reading it. I read it on my iPad when I was
There you
doing
go.
all
I have
these
the
design
paperback.
relaunch books.
very
So
cool. Very cool.
they're hard
Yeah.
to find the paperbacks. These
Love
days.
Garrick. Love Garrick. If I
Anyway,
get a
so
second one.
Linda
Alright,
said
so-
that we would know her rating if we could read her mind.
I'm gonna say 5. She's gonna say 5 Gary Lockwoods.
I'm gonna say that she's gonna give it 3.5.
Oh.
She's gonna give it 3.5 espers.
All right. What I'll go with my final thoughts and ratings, and I'll let you finish. How's that?
Sure.
My final thoughts is I love the episode. It's great. I'm glad it exists. No matter how much or little Lucille Ball had to do with it. I know she was integral because like there was one person that I used to cook with that says you should date more. And if that guy didn't say that, I wouldn't have Serenity. So everybody that contributed to Star Trek existing, I appreciate. Cool. I got a message. But overall, I love the feel. I love the look, even though it's kind of weird and retro. In the retro, it's fun, and I've never not wanted to watch it when it came up in rotation, and I really like it. So I'm going to go ahead and give it out of 5. I'm going to give this one 5 R's. For James R. Kirk. R for James R. Kirk. Oh, we didn't talk about it. So I don't know if that was in the video I sent you or a different one, but they were saying when they remastered it, they thought about changing it to James T. Kirk.
Yeah, and they said no way.
Nope.
Number one, because I think the Okudas were like, no, that's part of it.
Right.
And number two, the guy who wanted to actually do it, who was like the effects director, said all the rotoscoping around the Foreman Mitchell because they're running back and forth in front of that all throughout the entire scene. So it would have been a nightmare. I've always had a headcanon of the R. Kirk thing.
Was it that Gary Mitchell just got it wrong?
No. Yes and no. I think that Gary, of course, knows that Jim's middle name is Tiberius, but he's just at that point so far gone from his humanity, his connection to everything that he once loved is so he just doesn't remember or doesn't care. That's the way I look at it.
It's all fading away, maybe.
Yeah. It's unimportant details of a bug I'm going to squash.
Right.
So
Do you really
that's
care
the way
bug's
I
middle name.
I looked at it.
It always gave me thoughts of James Roy Kirk. Maybe he confused him and James Roy Kirk.
Ah, it's funny because I was reading while you were getting some of the technical stuff sorted out. I was going through the first few pages of this, and it's actually the beginning of this is kind of a retelling of the end of
Ah.
Where No Man Has Gone Before, and he says the R. Kirk, he shows it, and Kirk notices it. James R. Kirk, oh, it was an old joke between them.
Okay.
Now, if I could bet you credits to Navy Beans, that joke is somewhere in this book as part of their origin story. So
Okay. I want to read more now. You're like Captain O.J. Readmore.
yeah,
Reading is where it's at.
Reading is fundamental.
Yeah. Okay. Final thoughts and ratings on Where No Man Has Gone Before. Christopher D. Philippus, bring us home.
I love this episode. Still remains my favorite episode of the original series because it is such an outlier. It still awakens in me all of the nascent creative juices that I want to explore so that I can fill in these gaps and be that perfectionist, be that canonista, and make it all work together. And beyond that, again, I think the sensibilities of this episode are so much different from the original series in so many good ways. That I wish they would have kept a lot of it. Unfortunately, they didn't. Right down, like you said, to the look, to the retro look, the weird collars on the uniforms, the whole thing. It all of it works for me. It all sings, combined with fantastic performances by a great guest cast, and basically the genesis and the seeds of the greatest friendship in science fiction history. No, not Han and Chewie, but close. So yeah, for all of that, thank you for permitting me to gush about this episode of Star Trek. I will give it 10 Kefarian apples out of 5.
Woo! Kefarian apples. Yay. I like that one. And it brought us 3D chess. How can we forget?
Right.
3D chess.
There's so many things that would become, hallmarks of Trek are here. So good on you. Good on you.
It was
Where
it
No
was
Man Has
great,
Gone
yeah.
Before.
I'm giving it 5 out of 5 because I do like episodes better, but I can't complain about anything in this episode. I think it's beautiful. All right, what are we doing next on Trek Exploration, Christopher D. Philippus?
I have to first ask everybody out there who is watching or listening to tell us what you think of Where No Man Has Gone Before.
Like and
there are
subscribe.
many ways that you can do that.
Like and
You
subscribe.
can do it right here on the YouTube channel where you should like and subscribe. That's youtube.com/@TrekExploration.
Comment down below.
Yes, you can also find us on our Patreon site. That's patreon.com/TrekExploration for
Treksploration.
supporting us if you want to, becoming part of our crew.
Send
of
them money.
intrepid
Send them money.
Trek Explorers. Send the cheddar. Or
Yep.
at least share these shows so that we can get more members on the YouTube channel and
Let me know if you want a lap dance. I'm available.
monetize. And you can get us on the gram at Trexploration Pod. You can Blue Sky us. That's Blue Sky Social Trexploration. You can also email us. That's trexplorationpod@gmail.com. And you can always send us your autobiography at P.O. Box 542. Bayport, New York 11705.
That's your next book, Chris. I want to read that.
542, Bayport, New York 11705. I already have
An autobiography?
I have a title for my autobiography. It's called Wheat
Walk
Pennies
It Off.
Wheat Pennies and Martinis.
Oh, I thought it was going to be called Walk It Off. Walk It Off. But I think I'm having a hard... Walk It Off. Okay. Okay.
Alba, you make me into such a meanie.
No, you're the best. I have great affection for you. All right. How
just
about I do the
remember-
next bonus show, but you tell our listeners what the next episode of TNG we're doing.
Yeah, so we may be using your comments. We probably will use your comments if we get around to gathering them in future.
Yeah,
episodes
especially if
of
you're a
Trek
cadet,
Exploration.
captain, omnipotent, any of those levels. 8472.
So our next for the TNG recaps, of our main recaps, is Arsenal of Freedom, and I don't even remember what that one's about.
There's a planet where the defense system is still active, but nobody's on the planet anymore, and it keeps making people fall down holes and getting shot at.
I like Arsenal Bijons better. Okay, what's the next bonus show?
I've been wanting to do this for a while now. What time is it? Can you see that?
It's a watch of some kind.
It's Deep Space Nine time.
Yay! I like Deep Space Nine.
This is my Deep Space Nine watch. I've never opened it
Cool.
because I don't care what time it is. But it's time for Deep Space Nine next. We're doing Past Prologue.
That's the second episode, or third, depending on how you count the pilot.
Let's see. Where's The Man Alone? Is The Man Alone after that? Past Prologue?
It has to be.
What is Past Prologue? Which one is that one?
Episode 2. So
Yeah, but what is
goes
it about?
Emissary Past Prologue.
What's the one line?
I don't remember. Let me
Is that
see.
the guy that gets murdered?
It's about a Bajoran, and then there's terrorists, and
Is there a massage?
I think they're really laying the ground for the Bajoran resistance and stuff like that. So
Oh,
it's
that one.
I'm sure
Okay,
it's going to be a
okay.
Kira heavy episode,
Yep.
which is always
I
aces in my
love
book.
Kira.
I love
Yeah,
Kira.
na 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 na.
Shana na na na.
Yeah, so I can't wait. So that's going to be great. So look for us most Thursday nights at 10 p.m. ish. If we don't have technical problems like we did tonight, 10:30. Well, we're trying for 10, so we'll get there. We'll get there. And thank you everybody for joining us live, and thank you everyone for being part of Trek Exploration. For Trek Exploration, I'm Albie,
And I'm Chris.
and we'll see you next time.
Keep on trekking through them stars.
Ooh, Trek Exploration of love. Trek Exploration. Okay. Woo! I love you very much, beautiful. And that is directed to the one I love, my daughter.
Earlier.
Then we hold up silly things. There we go. Look at that. Star Trek Deep Space Nine watch.
Steak sauce.
Steak sauce. Books. And then check out this. Oh, we didn't mention. Make sure if you can, you go watch the Voyager one we did, 1159.
Yeah, you released that already, huh?
Yeah, well,
I thought it was supposed to be released on the 20th or something.
it's for the patrons. It's for the patrons now.
Oh, it's patrons only.
So if
Gotcha.
you're a patron, go check it out. It's got 6 views, so I think the patrons saw it. But then if you're not a patron, you can go sign up to be a patron, watch it, and then there it is. It's right there, and it's also available for a separate purchase. Okay, thank you, live audience. We're going to hit stop.
Good night, guys. Thanks for everybody who
Thank you very
participated.
much. We really appreciate you. Trek Exploration of love. We might still be streaming. Okay.